regular council meeting on Tuesday, April 14th, 2026 in council chambers, Sparta Township Municipal Building, 65 Main Street, Sparta, New Jersey. The town council regular meeting is now opened at 7:20 p.m. All council meetings are now live streamed and can be viewed at the following link, youtube.com/@SpartaTWP/streams. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided to the public and the press on January 7th, 2026, by delivering to the press and posting on the township website a copy of this notice. Madam Clerk, would you please do a roll call?
Councilman Scott.
Yes.
Councilman Murphy.
Here.
Councilman Clark.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sylvester.
Here.
Mayor Blumetti.
Here. Would you all please stand and join me in a salute to our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As we begin our time together tonight, I'd like to offer a brief reminder that we're all here because we care deeply about Sparta and want to keep it a special place that it is. And we belong to one community as neighbors. I respectfully ask that we all, myself, colleagues on the dais, and you, the public, to strive to listen to one another and be respectful tonight as we interact. Thank you for your consideration. Well, we'll start the evening with 3 different proclamations. The first one is Donate Life, and it's Donate Life Month. So do we have representatives? Do we have Kelly and Gary here? Great, thank you. After I finish, you can come up and I'll present you with it. Whereas, realizing the urgent need for organ and tissue donors across the country, the National Donate Life Month observance promotes a greater understanding about the life-saving benefits of donation and transplantation. Moreover, the need is increasing. New Jersey Sharing Network is committed to addressing that need through increased awareness. And whereas the transplantation of organs and tissue is a miracle of modern medicine made possible through the compassion of organ and tissue donors, enabling surgeons to save thousands of lives every year. One organ donor can save 8 lives, and one tissue donor can restore health to over 75 others. People of all ages, ethnic backgrounds, and religions are touched by donation and by the serious shortage of organ donors that exists. Currently, there are nearly 4,000 New Jersey residents and over 100,000 Americans awaiting life-saving transplant operations. And whereas individuals who wish to do so are encouraged to register as organ and tissue donors, share their decisions with loved ones, and learn more about the impact of donation. Registration is available at local motor vehicle agencies and online at njsharingnetwork.org. That's njsharingnetwork.org. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Township Council of the Township of Sparta hereby proclaims April as Donate Life Month and encourages residents to learn about organ, eye, and tissue donation, consider registering as donors, and support efforts to increase awareness throughout Sussex County and the state of New Jersey. So may I please have our representatives, Kelly Bonaventure and Gary Kwaka, come up?
I have some other Sparta residents with me that also have a personal connection to donation that I would love to.
Sure, absolutely.
I get out these pictures.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you so much to the Sparta Town Council. We appreciate your continued support. This is the 10th year in a row that we have received a proclamation in honor of National Donate Life Month, and we can't thank you enough. It's events like this that help us to raise the awareness. With over 100,000 people waiting, the need is great and the need is real. And less than 1% of people pass away in the manner in which they're eligible to become an organ donor. So we really encourage you to learn more about donation. You can visit our website at njsharingnetwork.org, which you already mentioned. And we are so grateful that I have such special friends here to join me tonight. If you each want to introduce yourself,
Hi,
your connection to donation.
hi, I'm Gary Corker. I'm a kidney recipient from a living donor.
I'm Dan Sarnowski. The love of my life, Betsy Niles, became an organ donor back 15 years ago and saved several lives.
I'm Bertie Noble. My husband Doug donated his skin tissue for whoever needed anything.
My name is Jason Margalewski. My wife, Shawn Hoppy, is the one who donated her kidney to Gary.
So you can be a living donor. You can donate your kidney. You can live with one. And obviously the recipient lives with one. Gary's led a beautiful, healthy life. And it's amazing how just in this small little town, how many people have been touched by donation. I've been a Sparta resident for 32 years, and it is amazing to me how often I run into somebody who's been touched. So I just want to read this poem because these are the words I want to leave you with. Because these are the words that resonate the most and capture the essence of what organ and tissue donation make possible and what our beautiful, selfless, courageous donors make possible by giving the gift of life. It's called To Remember Me by Robert Test. At a certain moment, a doctor will determine that my brain has ceased to function and that for all intents and purposes, my life has stopped. When that happens, do not attempt to instill artificial life into my body by the use of a machine. And do not call this my deathbed. Call it my bed of life, and let my body be taken from it to help others lead fuller lives. Give my sight to a man who has never seen a sunrise, a baby's face, or love in the eyes of a woman. Give my heart to a person whose own heart has caused nothing but endless days of pain. Give my blood to the teenager who has been pulled from the wreckage of his car so that he might live to see his grandchildren play. Give my kidneys to one who depends on a machine to exist from week to week. Take my bones, every muscle, every fiber and nerve in my body, and find a way to make a crippled child walk. Explore every corner of my brain, take my cells if necessary, and let them grow so that someday a speechless boy will shout at the crack of a bat, and a deaf girl will hear the sound of rain against her windows. Burn what is left of me and give my ashes to the winds to help the flowers grow. If you must bury something, let it be my faults, my weaknesses, and my prejudice against my fellow man. Give my soul to God, and if by chance you wish to remember me, do it with a kind deed or word to someone who needs you. If you do all I have asked, I will live forever. So I just ask you to take a moment and realize that you can help to make something like that possible. And thank you again to the Sparta Town Council for having us here this evening.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, the town hall column lights will be lit green and blue in
In case you haven't noticed, that's the color of donation.
yes, in recognition of the proclamation.
Thank you. I wish I had had a donation from my sister. She may be here with us today.
Kelly, is it as easy as just checking a box for your license?
Yes, you can check the box on your license, and we also encourage people to register online as well. The National Registry is a much more dependable source. You can do both, and better yet, to do both.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything
Thank
you
you.
do.
That's why we continue to do what we do.
So next, I would like to introduce our Deputy Mayor, Mike Sylvester, who has a proclamation in honor of Fallen Firefighters Foundation.
Yes, good evening, everyone, and great way to start off the meeting here with these proclamations. As you're aware, we had a substantial brush fire over the weekend, of which the Sparta Fire Department did a phenomenal job under the leadership of Chief Odom, mitigating and extinguishing the fire. If you have any questions about our fire department or doubts, I don't think after this weekend you should. They were phenomenal. In addition, saying that Chief Odom and the entire Sparta department, along with Chief McCarrick and our police department, our EMTs, and the additional personnel who assisted along the entire day and weekend to support and put this fire out was just amazing, to say the least. And not to even bring this to light, there were additional local fire departments, agencies, and a wealth of support given around the entire township as well as the county to help mitigate the fire. So it just shows communities and support our local volunteers, and they do play a role. And I just think it's just in timing of this next proclamation, I wanted to bring light to that. So my sincere congratulations and gratitude to everybody I referenced, and I'm sure my colleagues and feel the same sentiments, and we just want to congratulate everybody that helped the town. So thank you. I read that. So next proclamation, Office of the Mayor proclamation, Light the Night for Fallen Firefighters Week. Whereas the Township of Sparta honors the courage, dedication, and selflessness serve as the firefighters who protect lives, homes, and communities across the nation. And whereas the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation, NFFF, honors fallen fire heroes, supports their families, and works to prevent firefighter deaths and injuries throughout training and education. Each year, approximately 80 fires make the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. And whereas during its 2026 Memorial Weekend, the NFFF will honor firefighters who died in the line of duty, including Captain Henry Sardina III of Apacon, who passed away following a medical emergency during training on November 24th, 2024. And whereas the NFFF's Light the Night for Fallen Firefighters initiative invites communities to illuminate buildings and homes in red as a symbol of remembrance and gratitude. And whereas members of the Sparta community volunteer with the NFFF, offer support and compassion to surviving families. And whereas lighting Sparta's Town Hall, fire stations, and residents' homes from April 26th through May 3rd, 2026 will unite our community with others nationwide in honoring fallen heroes. Now therefore be it resolved that the Township Council of the Township of Sparta hereby proclaims April 26th through May 3rd, 2026 as Light the Night for Fallen Firefighters Week, and encourages all residents, businesses, and organizations to participate in this display of honor and remembrance, expressing the township's deepest respect and gratitude for fallen firefighters, their family, and those who continue to serve. So, thank you very much. Amy,
Is Amy?
here?
Okay.
Oh, great.
Turn that on there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to say a few words?
My name is Amy Hayowick. The National Fallen Firefighters is an organization that's near and dear to me and my family. And we have been so proud to be a part of raising awareness and educating families and supporting the families of those who've lost their loved ones, either dynamically through fire or through a medical emergency following that. And so to be able to light the night and have a united display will be fantastic. We will be taking photos and video and actually putting it on a teleprompter that will be available nationwide, that Sparta has participated in this. So I'm just so grateful that I was listened to. Thank you, Christine Quinn, for pushing that button for me and connecting me with who I needed to. Thank you.
Our pleasure. And There you go. Thank you very
so
much.
Thank you. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thanks.
Everybody light their lights.
Thank you for being here.
And yes, we saw just one thing, I'd like to thank all of the fire squad, the ambulance, the EMTs, the police, everybody this weekend, because firsthand, Councilman Scott and I saw it as it was practically in our backyard. So it was tremendous, all 24, 36, 48 hours that you all did was phenomenal. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So our third and final proclamation for tonight, I'm going to introduce Councilman Neil Clark to do a proclamation for child abuse awareness.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you. Again, this is a proclamation I wish we did not have to give, but I want to thank all the agencies and volunteers who do just incredible work on this issue of child abuse prevention. And without you, our town would, everyone knows the negative consequences that happen from people who have been abused, and if that goes untreated and people are unaware of it, it hurts not only the child, but it ripples out through the entire community. So when you help that child, not just helping that child and family, you're helping the entire community. And so I want to thank institutions like Jenny's House who do incredible work on this. So with that, I'll read the Child Abuse Prevention Month, and I think we have some folks here that I'll announce later to accept the proclamation. Child Abuse Prevention Month Proclamation. Whereas child abuse and neglect is a complex and ongoing problem in our society, affecting many children in Sussex County, and whereas every child is entitled to be loved, cared for, nurtured, feel secure, and be free from verbal, sexual, emotional, and physical abuse and neglect. And whereas child abuse and neglect not only directly harm children, but also increase the likelihood of criminal behavior, substance abuse, health problems, and risky behavior. And whereas the effects of child abuse are felt by communities as a whole and need to be addressed by the entire community, and whereas effective child abuse prevention programs succeed because of partnerships among families, social services, agencies, schools, religious and civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. Now therefore be it resolved that the Township Council of the Township of Sparta does hereby proclaim April as Child Abuse Prevention Month and calls upon all citizens, community agencies, faith groups, medical facilities, and businesses to increase their participation in our efforts to support families, thereby preventing child abuse and strengthening the communities in which we live. Thank you, and I have Kelly Bonaventure, oh no, sorry, wrong one, Maria Sulkowski and Andrea Riker. I don't see Andrea though, but we have someone. Okay, fantastic. Okay. Thank you. And, is this thing on?
Yep.
Fantastic. Why don't you introduce yourselves, tell us where you're from, and if, a plug for Jenny's House or whatever organization is working on stopping child abuse.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, Eileen Maffey.
Carol Sorelli. We're both volunteers at Jenny's House, and we're also members of the Sparta Women's Club.
So thank you, Mayor and members of the Town Council. The Sparta Women's Club would like to thank you for recognizing April as Child Abuse Prevention Month and for your commitment to protecting the children in our community. Jenny's House was founded in 1998 by Jenny Littell and serves as Sussex County's Child Advocacy Center. Their mission is to provide a safe, child-friendly environment where children and families can begin to heal once abuse is suspected or disclosed. Through coordinated efforts with child protection, law enforcement, healthcare, and mental health professionals, they ensure that every child receives compassionate and comprehensive care. At Ginny's House, children are supported through legally defensible forensic interviews that reduce the need to retell their story, minimizing further trauma. From there, trauma-focused therapy is provided, always tailored to each child's age and needs. Importantly, available are critical support services for families, recognizing that healing extends beyond the child alone. Ginny's House even has a service dog on staff, Huey, who brings comfort and calm to children during some of their most difficult moments. Although the response to abuse is vital, prevention is a prominent goal, and that's where the Sparta Women's Club came in with volunteering for Ginny's House. Along with prevention and education initiatives, the hope is to stop abuse before it happens, empowering adults and the children alike with knowledge and the tools to stay safe. This proclamation not only raises awareness, but strengthens our shared responsibility to protect the most vulnerable among us. Together, as a community, we can create a safer, more supportive environment for every child. Carol and I would personally like to donate a pinwheel kit for display in Sparta as a symbol of hope, awareness, and the bright futures that every child deserves. Thank you for your continued support of Ginny's House and for standing with us in the fight to prevent child abuse.
So, am I right, you're still offering, these, people can purchase these? Okay, how long is that going for? All month? Okay, and how much is that donation? 35. So for $35, you get this beautiful sign that you can put in your front yard. I have one. Also, isn't Jenny's House doing a fundraiser? Is that coming up? Several. When's the next one?
This month it's the pinwheel.
Okay.
And the next one's going to be a mahjong tournament.
Okay. What about the dinner that you do?
The Boots and Boogies.
Yes.
May 2nd.
May 2nd. So May 2nd, Boots and Boogie. If you've ever been to a Jenny's House event, that one, they're a lot of fun, even though it's a very serious subject. Their events are fantastic. My wife was a board member for many years, so I got the benefit of getting to go to these. So I encourage anyone, look up Jenny's House, please donate, go to their events. It's a fantastic organization. And, thank you for all the work that you do. You've healed a lot of communities and a lot of families here, and the children most specifically, so thank you. Yeah. And thank you for this. It's going to look good in Town Hall. Thank you. Yep. All right.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to, we have some minutes to approve this evening. These are all executive session meeting minutes. The first one for December 22nd, 2025, Councilman Scott and Councilwoman Murphy will withhold from voting, abstain on this one. May I have a motion, please, to approve the executive meeting minutes from December 22nd, 2025, as presented?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. May I have a motion, please, to approve the executive meeting minutes from January 27th, 2026, as presented?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
May I have a motion to approve the executive meeting minutes from February 10th, 2026, as presented?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And finally, may I have a motion to approve the executive meeting minutes from March 10th, 2026 as presented?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carried. Okay, moving on to manager's report. Town Manager Zepp, would you please share your report with us this evening?
Surely. Good evening, Mayor, council members, and all Sparta residents joining us in person or watching from home. Thank you for being with us tonight. It may sound familiar. At approximately 1 p.m. on Sunday, fire crews responded to Fairway Terrace for a reported brush fire. The fire originated from an unattended, unpermitted bonfire and spread up the mountainside. About 3.5 acres of wooded area were affected, and no structures were damaged. 2 firefighters were treated on the scene for heat exhaustion and smoke inhalation. One was transported to Newton Medical Center for evaluation and was released a few hours later. No civilian injuries were reported. The New Jersey Forest Fire Service led operations under a unified command with mutual aid support from Andover Township, Byram, Ogdensburg, Jefferson Township, Company 2, and the U.S. Forest Service. Sparta Police Department's drone unit provided aerial support throughout the incident. Fire suppression efforts concluded around 7:15 p.m. Overnight watch was maintained by patrol units, a Forest Fire Service crew, and Sparta Township Fire Department Engine 7 until 8 a.m. Monday, when the Forest Fire Service returned to address remaining hotspots. As Deputy Mayor Sylvester had said, we extend our sincere appreciation to all first responders for their swift and professional actions in managing this dangerous situation. I thought it only appropriate to segue into New Jersey remains under a statewide drought warning as reservoirs and groundwater levels continue to run low. The New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection reports that as of late March this year, about 31% of the state is experiencing drought conditions, and another 42% is classified as abnormally dry. Most regions are seeing declining water levels except for the Jersey Shore, which has benefited from recent storms. Residents are strongly urged to conserve water to help protect and stabilize the state's water supply. This Saturday and Sunday, April 18th and 19th, Sparta will host its annual Bag It Day. A special thank you goes out to Mitch Morrison for organizing this important community event each year. Volunteers are always welcome and greatly appreciated. For details on how you can get involved and help keep Sparta beautiful, please visit the township website and check the news flash section. This past Friday, the township received the 2025 annual financial statement. Following its release, my finance team and I met virtually with our auditors to review the document in detail. The AFS is posted on the township financial webpage. My finance team and I are now working diligently to incorporate the auditor's guidance as we finalize the 2026 municipal budget. We plan to introduce the budget at the April 28th council meeting and will continue to keep the governing body updated as key elements are completed. Public handouts will be posted on the township website as soon as they are available. We continue to make steady progress towards closing the landfill. The township has established a strong working relationship with our DEP representative, and we are now moving forward with the next required step, securing title commitments for each of the 5 parcels being donated. These donations will allow us to mitigate the 2 acres of wetlands that currently prevent the landfill from being formally closed. Once the title work is completed, our environmental scientist, Laura Newgard, will provide an explanation of the donation process. At that time, we'll be asking the council to formalize these property donations through a resolution. The township continues to take all appropriate steps to ensure full compliance with local zoning and land use regulations at 809 West Mountain Road. Last week, township professionals and administration met directly with the property owner to advance our requests for on-site soil testing and related activities. The property owner has confirmed full cooperation and has verified that the former truck parking depot operation at the site has ceased entirely. The township is now working with the property owner to finalize the schedule for the next phases of soil testing. Soil sampling is scheduled to occur before May 10th, and all required permit applications and testing data will be submitted to the township by June 1st. The township has also communicated with the neighboring property owner and provided an update on the status of this matter. We appreciate the cooperation, patience, and understanding of all parties as we work toward a complete and compliant resolution. As will be reflected in the upcoming resolution, the township is pleased to welcome Ms. Kerry Brown as our new land use administrator. Ms. Brown brings over 25 years of planning and zoning experience to the position. We are confident that she will be a strong asset to our busy department and to the community. The spring and summer recreation brochure is on the township's website under the Parks and Recreation Department. Registration for all programs begins tomorrow, Wednesday, April 15th, for Sparta residents, and next Wednesday, April 22nd, for non-residents. New programs added this year are the following: Mom and Me Karate, Family Kickball, Adult Pilates, and Women's Self-Defense. The park staff has been able to get all the fields for lacrosse, baseball, softball, cricket ready for use, as well as all sparks are ready for the public to enjoy. A couple other reminders of events at Town Hall. Saturday, April 5th, 11 to 3, Earth Day Fair, sponsored by the Environmental Commission, rain or shine. Saturday, May 30th, 9 to noon, free paper shred and e-waste event, rain or shine. Further information is available on the township's website. Chief McCarrick will now be reading his report. This concludes my report for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Manager Zepp, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and Council. Just have one thing to touch on tonight. This is a recognition of National Public Safety Telecommunication Week. April 12th through 18th marks the national recognition for public safety telecommunicators, dispatchers, and their vital role in public safety response. Our dispatchers are the first voice someone hears when they contact 911 for an emergency. Their voice is the essential start of public safety at its best by gathering critical information during very stressful moments when someone is experiencing the worst moment of their lives. Dispatchers do this calmly and professionally, all while multitasking with their partners and dispatching the appropriate emergency services with vital information needed. The Sparta Township Police Department Communication Bureau consists of 10 full-time dispatchers and 3 part-time dispatchers. Together, they provide 24/7, 365 coverage telecommunication services to 5 municipalities for police, fire, and EMS. Our dispatchers know the communities they serve, they know our first responders and what is needed to save lives. And it's a perfect example on how well they communicated, got the resources together by notifications this past weekend with the brush fire. Very proud of our Communication Bureau and our professionals who fulfill those roles. I want to thank all of our dispatchers across our nation, and most importantly here in Sparta, for playing the vital role in saving lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief McCarrick, and thank you, Town Manager Zepp. And again, a welcome to our new employee, Kerry Brown. May I have a motion to accept the manager's report as presented, please?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Manager's report has been accepted.
And just one question. You alluded to it in your comments, Manager Zepp. Bonfires are prohibited in Sparta Township absent a permit. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, so no one, and there has not yet been a fire restriction on like campfires yet. But I just want you to give guidance to our members. You can't, no bonfires, but an outdoor like fire ring is still okay?
If you have an open burn, a fire pit or something, you have to get a permit from the Forest Fire Service. They'll come out, check it. You have to pay attention to the website. There will be restrictions on there. If it's posted, do not burn. Obviously don't. On days, that are windy, you usually do not burn. It's not going to be safe for those conditions. But the best thing is to go based upon what the website is for the New Jersey State Forest Fire.
Okay, and just those little fire rings that you can get from Lowe's, are those okay right now or not?
If it's
Just
an
you're
open,
sitting out on a Saturday afternoon.
if it's an open burn, you have to get a permit. It's very easy to do.
Okay.
I don't correct me if I'm wrong. I do not believe there's a cost. Contact the forest fire. They'll come out and inspect the area and then issue you the permit.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're to our first open to the public segment for tonight, and this is for items that appear on tonight's agenda, including the resolutions, but with the exception of ordinance hearings. Ordinance at the hearing stage always have their own public comment segment as well. So this is for anything on the agenda, including resolutions. There will be a second public comment period later for items not on the agenda. So as you approach the microphone, please state and spell your name for the record. Each speaker is limited to one comment of no more than 5 minutes and no yielding of time to another person.
Hi, good evening. My name is Angel Diaz. It's good to be before you again. I'm sorry to bother you. Last time I was here, we spoke about the Look Back program. You got a lot of veterans here from the Veteran of Foreign Wars, and I'm a member as well. I'm very proud of what I did for my country. I'm sure all of them are. All of these veterans here have a lot to say, and forgive me if they are a little pumped up about this. I just want you to know that this is something that's really important. You know, it takes years for a veteran to get approved to be 100% service connected, years. And that's after appeal after appeal, after basically going with the Veteran of Foreign Wars representatives to help basically get through a mountain of paperwork, documentation, evidence, you name it, testimony. But it's really important, you know, and I am appealing to your kindness and your generosity and your, you know, what's right and good and just, to please understand that if a veteran basically goes to war voluntarily, he goes to war to represent all of us. I served in Beirut, I served in Grenada. I'm proud of what I did. I didn't have to get drafted. I went down to the recruiting station and I signed on the dotted line. The people in this town where this look back program is going to directly affect, they weren't drafted. They were volunteers. They went because they were called. They went and did their duty for their nation because their nation needed their help. I sincerely ask you to really think about one thing here. Life is incredibly short. You're going to be on the record basically saying yay or nay to this program, but I need for you to understand that this program, the support that these families need because of this Look Back program, they need that assistance. I'm sure many of them have been waiting years to basically get their benefits and have struggled in the process. I implore you, please take that into consideration. And this is the face of veterans who died in Beirut in the Marine barracks bombing in 1983. They don't have a chance to say their piece, but I want you to actually think that there are faces behind every 100% service-connected veteran. Think about that. Please do the right thing. I'm sure there's some way we could raise the money to allow these veterans have the benefits that they so rightfully deserve. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, just for a clarification point, I didn't want to interrupt you, sir. This is not the opportunity to speak about the ordinance hearing. No, each hearing for an ordinance, we'll get to the ordinance, it'll have its own time period, but we already got you, so no worries, no worries. Yeah, this is for anything on the agenda that's not an ordinance hearing. Okay, so it's resolutions.
I saw there's a lot of changes for the thing, for the property.
Mr. Castamore, would you mind the
I'm
microphone
sorry.
just so
Yeah,
people at
Jim
home can hear you?
Castamore.
Thank you.
I saw the thing, the ordinances for zone changes and stuff. Is this in relation to the, I'm going to call it COA housing? Is it?
Yes.
Okay. All these properties are involved in this, or are there specific properties?
There are two specific properties.
And they are?
On tonight's agenda, but we're not going to really address that. We'll have a hearing for that as well. Tonight's just introduction, but it's regarding two separate properties.
When is that required to be to the state of New Jersey?
But we're in compliance with the New Jersey. We filed, we have extensions, we're totally in compliance with the rules.
When is the extension over?
For part of it, April 30th.
Today's April the 14th.
Correct. The
So-
ordinances don't need to be, well, the ordinances are, if they get approved tonight, introduction, the hearing will be at the end of April before the 30th, but these ordinances, actually, the hearings can be after April 30th.
But you already submitted it to the state of New Jersey then, correct?
We submitted earlier plans to the state of New Jersey. Since that time, things have evolved like every other municipality where there's been objectors and there's been settlement agreements and things that are underway. So that's why there's the extended time frame.
So doesn't this have to go to the planning board first for them to say, okay, yay, this is the spots, we're okay with this?
No. No, these ordinances will next go to the planning board for a master plan consistency review.
Right?
And then that will come back to us. But affordable housing is not under the purview of the planning board necessarily. The governing body makes those decisions. The ordinances do need to go there like every ordinance that is related to land use.
So what are the two pieces of property that you've negotiated besides what I've read on the court paperwork? I mean, these negotiations started back in August of 2025. It's published in Superior Court of the State of New Jersey. Is that the properties we're talking about?
I don't know which properties you're referring to.
The one property I think was 5 West Shore Trail, and the other property's out here on Route 15.
I mean, I don't want to, we're not going to get into details about the ordinance tonight. Attorney Dash, are we talking about specifics at all right tonight, or?
We would respect that the ordinance hearing will be heard in 2 weeks on the 28th, and would welcome any questions at that time.
Okay. Yeah, it just strikes me as odd that the properties that are mentioned in this court paperwork is the very ones that the guy is now going to federal jail over. And the other ones where it was going to be kept a cornfield only, and all of a sudden it looks to be, unless I'm not reading it right, obviously I don't have a college education, I've been told that before, that somehow miraculously that piece of property that you all put an ordinance in is now all of a sudden going to become this housing unit out there. And it looks like this negotiation's been going on since August of last year, 2025. I realized that Councilman or Deputy Mayor Sylvester was not on the board at the time, but it just, I don't understand it. But okay, I'll wait until the hearing. Thank you.
Actually, just to correct you, that the properties and the facts you mentioned are not actually accurate. So we'll get to that in 2 weeks from now, but it's not, what you're thinking is not what we're talking about here.
Okay, but it's in, there's been court documents that said these negotiations were going on with those properties.
Correct.
Oh, okay, all right, maybe,
Yeah,
okay.
that's factual.
Thank you.
And Mr. Castmore, you accused or you stated at the planning board that Ms. Murphy and myself, Councilwoman Murphy and myself, own 5 and 7 West Shore Trail. That is incorrect, sir. And we do not have any interest in those properties.
Number 9.
Oh, I own number 9, yes, but you said 5
Okay.
and 7.
No, it's 9.
Okay, folks.
Thank you.
Let's move on. Thank you.
Thanks for correcting me.
I already did.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Good evening, Pete Litchfield, Litchfield, 120 Conestoga Trail, Sparta. On Friday night, most of us get together at the VFW. We try to solve all the problems of the world. And one of the questions that a lot of people ask me is, when it comes to our legal fees with lawsuits, I know you don't want to discuss the lawsuits, but I look at the legal fee as like the head of the octopus. What are the tentacles costing us? Anytime there's a lawsuit, I was an engineer. You have to have an engineer, a planner. You got to have traffic studies. You got to have administration costs. So what are the tentacle costs of all these lawsuits? Not just the law, what the lawyer gets or the law firm, but all the tentacles that we pay for. So people in town would like to know that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Quinn, Alpine Trail. Good evening, everyone. Let me begin with reiterating what I think we can all agree is clear. We all understand and appreciate that Sparta Township's facing a bit of a financial emergency right now. This is a time when difficult decisions need to be made and priorities need to be set, because the budget is much more than numbers on a spreadsheet. It's a reflection and a moral document that reflects our priorities, what we choose to protect when times get hard. That's where I want to speak directly. I want to talk about our veterans and the current look back policy as it relates to the budget. So I don't know if you want me to, because they're both connected, talk about it now, or if I should talk about it. Would you prefer that I wait till later or talk about it? Because
Yeah,
it's
if you
kind of
wouldn't mind, maybe
connected.
during the hearing, so
Sure.
keep that concentrated there. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I just wanted to make sure, and I didn't want to lose the opportunity to speak. Okay,
No,
thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for asking. All right, anyone else from the public on items on the agenda excluding the ordinance hearings? Okay. Okay, seeing none, let's move on with the agenda to expenditures for this evening. Deputy Mayor Sylvester, would you read the expenditures for April 14th, 2026, please?
Expenditures for April 14th, 2026 totals $502,459.42.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve those, please?
So moved.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor of approving the April 14th, 2026 expenditures, say aye.
Aye.
Expenditures have been approved. Okay, now we're moving on to the introduction of ordinances. The first one is Ordinance 2607. I'm going to interject here and make a motion to table 2607 so that it can be refined and finalized a bit more. Needs some further definition and some components added to it. I'd like to share that in a moment or two, if I could just have a second to get to a discussion, please.
So Mayor, before you do, just Councilman Scott and Councilwoman Murgy have been previously recused from this ordinance, correct?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Scott, you can still sit at the dais. I don't follow the rule of having to leave the,
So I'll second that, just so we can have a discussion. If you could lay out the basis for the tabling,
Sure.
would be helpful.
Thank you. Okay, so this ordinance is, and I won't get into the merits or the content of the ordinance, okay? This is it's related to a land use in the White Deer Plaza area and the surrounding area of White Deer Plaza. The ordinance is bigger, but in there's a description and a definition and some rules around allowing bed and breakfast establishments there. I believe that we have a responsibility and a duty to flesh that out a bit more and add some more details and content around what a bed and breakfast is and some of the rules around that. If you look at ordinances for other towns, there are some good examples in Maplewood, New Jersey, and also the Township of Washington, New Jersey. And there's plenty others, but those have good examples of defining a bed and breakfast and laying out some of the guidelines around that. The reason why this is important is not just about that little area, but this will de facto become our bed and breakfast guidelines, right? So if and when we do allow it elsewhere, and some zones have that, this is what we'll look to, and this will kind of define what a bed and breakfast is. So that's why I think it's important beyond just this ordinance. Just some examples. I believe, and most of them have a definition or stipulation that it must be a residence, right? So a detached single-family residence. And that the owner or operator must be either on site or nearby within 15 minutes. Potentially, there is some towns require a bed and breakfast license from town hall on an annual basis. There's stipulations around the fact that the food part, the breakfast part, needs to be part of the total cost. And these might seem like minutia, but there's a difference between a bed and breakfast and a small inn or a small hotel. And this is meant to be a bed and breakfast in the ordinance. There's also, some towns have different rules around signage, because they're in residential neighborhoods or in pockets like that, you want to control the signs outside of it a little bit more. So I respect greatly the input and the preferences of the LMCC leadership, and I do believe that we have a responsibility just to look at it, bring it back in 2 weeks, put in some of these more details, especially to differentiate it from a small hotel, right? That's a different type of business. If we're talking about bed and breakfast, which I believe we are, we just need to tighten this up a little bit. So those are some of the examples. That's the reason why I can make a motion, and we have a second. I'd like to ask my fellow council people to table this for tonight and bring it back in 2 weeks to be introduced.
Are we still open for discussion?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, with no disrespect, we had this ordinance presented and we pulled it to then further reach out to LMCC, work together, share some of our concerns. So we went through this process once before. And when I saw this coming up here tonight, I thought those conversations and, that dialogue took place, and we expressed some of those other issues that you may have or will be referencing. And they came back and they were very comfortable putting this forth and gave us the confidence. Now, Mr. Dash, is that correct?
It is, but I actually should have mentioned that my firm is recused from substantive policy discussions on this ordinance.
I can answer a little bit. I mean,
I just want to know the
agree that
sequencing, what took place after our last time we pulled this.
Yeah, last time one of the defaults, one of the deficiencies of this was there was no definition of bed and breakfast, period. All right, the first version was linked to the New Jersey, I believe it was bed and breakfast, so whatever it is, which no longer exists. So there was no definition in here. So Lake Mohawk Country Club took this and put in a definition, and we got it back late Thursday. So I think we saw it on Friday. So that definition, perhaps they're satisfied with it, but because this has implications for the township in general, and it's missing some of these items, that's why I don't think it's really been fleshed out in terms of a definition. And looking at other examples too around.
I just think it's
Jersey.
important to get the sequencing on the record, because I just, as I said, we have one chance to get this right. Lake Mohawk Country Club put the request in. They've asked us to consider and wanted us to move forward on this. So I just want to make sure that we're in agreement. And the dialogue's been open and we're both satisfactory with their suggestions as well as ours.
Yeah.
In return. So, all right. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, I was at we have a council liaison along with Councilwoman Murphy to Lake Mohawk. And so I got a little background on where they got their definitions. And this is from other townships as well. So it, because they knew that we needed to flesh out that definition, because the definition that existed previously was simply referring to a kind of defunct association as far as we can tell. So there really wasn't a definition. I think, my inclination here is to, I'd like to see, these bed and breakfasts, right now we have a lodging problem all over Sussex County. We do. And we have the need for it. And in Sparta, we banned short-term rentals, so that's not an option for lodging. And I think bed and breakfast makes a lot of sense to have that. It's going to drive commercial growth. It's going to bring people to the town, and particularly for this zone, which is in Lake Mohawk in particular, they are in very much need of a bed and breakfast, because when they have weddings there, there's nowhere for people to stay. They have to stay 15 miles out, and that's negatively affects them. So I really want to do this, but also want to do it right. And I understand Councilman Blumetti's argument that this isn't just for the C1H. It's going to have a spillover effect to every other zone. That bed and breakfasts are also allowed in other zones, but that isn't what's before us right now. But it is going to impact that. My view of it, let's make it simpler and not more difficult to attract this type of use in our town. I think we need it. I think it would be helpful. I think it helps economic growth. So I don't want to bog them down with a bunch of needless requirements. But that being said, I need to see what they are first. And so I think I'll support the motion to table that I hope that Councilman Bumetti will, that we can get this back on the agenda on the 28th with, and during that intervening period, tell us what additionals you want, why you want them, and, and how they will not be kind of a needless impediment to getting this type of use up and running in Sparta.
Any more comments?
Yeah, I'm still a bit unsettled, because I think if we're gonna go back, I do not want to see this be, used as a back and forth, a volley back and forth, and we're not moving this along. So, what would be the sequencing? If we pull this tonight, who's gonna be representing the township to go have that dialogue? Would that be Councilman Clark, since you're the liaison with Lake Mohawk?
Yeah, I can tell them that we want to flesh out, we thank you for your definition. We're doing our due diligence to see if that's going to be sufficient, because this isn't just for that historic zone. This is going to affect other zones that have bed and breakfast, and we want to make sure we get this right.
For those other zones that you're referencing, we can't put other ordinances in place specific to those zones? This one's just going to be uniform and carried through across the entire
No,
township?
you're right. That's a good point that we could, but I think there should be some comity between them at least. I think, that's, I think that's going to be the measuring stick. So say, there's a bed and breakfasts are allowed, I don't know if they are, PCED, right? Well, how come PCED gets a less restrictive one and Lake Mohawk gets a more restrictive? And then we have to explain that. So it may be that, it's not necessary. I think I want to take a look at what, Councilman Bumetti is proposing. And I think that we just reintroduce it again. I think between now and the 28th, I'd like to hear what these additional ones are, and then whether they should make their way into the revision, as opposed to waiting for the hearing and then trying to introduce these additional requirements that may turn out to be a significant change, thereby requiring a reintroduction.
Right, and I'm just hoping that, the assumption is that we're going to go back to Lake Mohawk and they're going to be accepting the other suggestions
that's
and changes
also a
we're
very good
making. And
point.
in the event they don't, they have a process they have to go through, and therefore it's going to create either frustration and/or more delays. I'll follow through. If you want to pull it, but only with the conditions and the intent that we are going to really try to reach out and work together. And if there's any conflict, that there's compromise there with Lake Mohawk community to, mitigate and bring something forward. So the next time we see this is something that, and I would love the fact if someone from LMCC could come up here and represent themselves as well and be present if that's the case. I mean, hopefully, I said we got one chance to get this right. Let's
Let's get it
do
right.
it. Three's a charm here.
As if in fact that it's meant to be an inn or a small hotel, let's craft that the right way then, if it's not
I
B&Bs,
understand where you're going with it, but, I think
And with all complete respect for what their desires might be, we as a governing body also have to keep in mind an oversight of zones and uses in the township.
But they're trying to also administratively correct and fix things that they're governing in their private community. So I think there's a little bit of
absolutely. Yeah.
understanding what they're trying to accomplish here as well.
Yeah.
So,
And to echo Councilman Clark's sentiments too, we do have a shortage of places for people to stay in terms of like bed and breakfasts, inns, things like that in the county and around there too. And, personally, I love staying in these types of places, so I just want to make sure we get it right. I'm not opposed to it at all. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. So all in favor of tabling this 2607 for this evening, say aye.
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 Mayor, should have a roll call. for this.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Oh, because it's an ordinance.
Councilman Clark,
Yes, on tabling.
Deputy Mayor Sylvester,
Yes.
Mayor Blumetti.
Yes. Okay, 2607 has been tabled. Okay, moving on. Next introduction, 2609. An ordinance of the Township of Sparta, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, to amend Chapter 18 entitled Comprehensive Land Management Code by amending Section 18-4.8 Districts by the addition of new zone Town Center Inclusionary Housing 2, otherwise TCIH-2, by adding Section 18-4.39 entitled Town Center Inclusionary Housing 2, TCIH2, and by amending the zoning map to show the new zone boundaries for Block 5024, Lot 10. May I have a motion to introduce Ordinance 2609?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Mayor, for the similar reasons that we've discussed,
Three of us.
there's, right, Councilman Scott.
I'll
and
second it.
Deputy Murphy have a conflict.
Okay, so we have a second. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sylvester,
Yes.
Mayor Blumetti.
Yes. 2609 has been introduced. Ordinance 2610. An ordinance of the Township of Sparta, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, to amend Chapter 18 entitled Comprehensive Land Management Code by amending Section 18-4.8 Districts by the addition of a new zone, Town Center Inclusionary Housing 1, otherwise known as TCIH1, by adding Section 18-4.38 entitled Town Center Inclusionary Housing 1, TCIH1, by amending the zoning map to show the new zone boundaries for a portion of Block 10002, Lot 61, and by amending Section 18-4.28 for the existing Town Center Professional Business, TCPB, zone to remove certain permitted uses. May I have a motion to introduce Ordinance 2610?
Mayor, before you do that, Deputy Mayor Sylvester and I have spoken. He's also going to recuse himself from this ordinance due to a conflict.
Okay. Okay, may I have a motion to introduce 2610?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Is it just me and Dean?
No, I'm sorry. My apologies. Councilman Scott and Murphy are permitted to vote on this.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm out, you're in.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion. I'll
We just
second.
need a sec.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Okay.
Okay. Councilman Clark, motion.
Okay.
I seconded.
Yeah.
Okay, Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote excluding Deputy Mayor?
And so it's,
Four, I think four of us only, except Mike is
Mike's-
precluded from
Mike
this.
is the
Mike
only
has-
one. Okay, okay. Councilman Scott,
Yes.
Councilman Murphy,
Yes.
Councilman Clark,
Yes.
Mayor Blumetti.
Yes. So Ordinance 26-10 has been introduced. Okay, moving on to hearings of ordinances. Ordinance 26-05. An ordinance amending the general ordinances of the Township of Sparta in order to adjust certain fees and escrows. May I have a motion to adopt Ordinance 2605?
So moved.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, may I have a, we will now open it to the public for public comment. The same general rules apply. Please state your name and spell it at the microphone. And please limit your comments to 5 minutes.
Introducing this, 2605.
Okay, seeing none, we'll bring it back to the council, the dais, for any discussion or comments on 2605.
None here.
Which way are we going?
My only question was, we didn't see a delta in the analysis as to how much they went up. Are these inflationary moves, these fees going up, or the cause for that?
I'm going to defer to Attorney Dash.
Councilman, the delta was shared with the council previously in the last couple of weeks. So the costs do account for increased labor costs and
Right.
increased costs in the market.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I will say too, in that analysis, when you have a chance, there's also benchmarks across different municipalities in the area to kind of see what they were charging as well for a lot of these and to make sure that we were in the right range.
Just wanted to thank Manager Zepp and his team. A lot of work went into this, and just acknowledge that, that's all,
Attorney Dash deserves a lot of that recognition.
as well.
He did a lot of work on that.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the dais?
Nope.
Okay. Hearing none. For ordinance 2605, Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Councilman Scott.
Yes.
Councilman Murphy.
Yes.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sylvester.
Yes.
Mayor Blumetti.
Yes. Ordinance 2605 has been adopted. Okay, moving on to ordinance 2606. An ordinance amending Chapter 2, Administration, Article 11, Taxation and Revenue of the Revised General Ordinances of the Township of Sparta, amending Section 2-62, 100% disabled veteran tax refunds. Okay, may I have a motion to adopt 2606?
So moved.
I would, before we get into this, I think we should table this. I was going through, and this is on the look back,
Correct.
and I think that I have come up with different numbers than the reports that we have. And I think we need to refine them. Yes, it's a lot of money, but I have come up with different numbers than the reports. So I would like, and our CPAs and our Dawn's not here to go over these numbers, but I don't know why the look back is maybe we adjust it yet and not completely get rid of it, adjust it to to an average of the housing as was mentioned prior, the average tax. But, I mean, I only got for this year, for 2026, I got 71,000. And why is it from previous years brought into 2026 to be paid? I don't understand. So
Well,
I'd
before,
like,
before we discuss it, you have a motion, you made a motion to table it.
To table
right?
it.
So before we get into discussion, we have to have a second on the topic of possibly tabling this.
I want to table it.
All right, but, so you have a motion to hear it and a
Right.
motion to table it.
Yeah, we
But
should-
how about a discussion? If
Right,
we
so
have a
there-
discussion, we have to vote.
Well, there needs to be a second on any motion. So we haven't had a second yet.
I would like to second tabling it.
Okay, now.
Okay, now we can have a discussion at the
Discussion
dais
around the
on the
idea of-
motion to table.
Tabling this.
Okay.
Would you like to continue? Sorry. No, that's not yet.
Not yet.
We're not into the hearing. We're not there yet. The public segment comes once the ordinance is introduced, and we're going to move it to the public. Right now, we're embedded
it's
in a tabling, it's nested.
Was curious why that there, in the 2026 exempt veteran register, why there are numbers, mine don't add up from those particular block and lots were not in 2026. They're from 2023, 2024. But yet some of them were just, and then yet some of these that are on here, I've not even seen. So I don't know where they came from.
I agree with Councilman Murphy.
This one?
We've had some analysis from our town manager that shows a number of over $500,000 is the cost. We've had some analysis from concerned individuals in the town that have spent time with our CFO, and they've come up with numbers that are significantly less. And I think for the council to make an educated decision in this time of exceptional financial pressure on the town that we should get the numbers right. I mean, that's really that's the only thing that Councilman Murphy and I have the issue with, is that we have one number at 139,000 and another number at 520. Seems to be a big difference.
Councilman Scott, there was a number of reports that came out from our CFO
I-
and our finance staff.
And I read every one of them.
Okay, do you have the one
And
here?
they gave me even additional numbers.
Okay, well, this one here,
Wait, we're still going through comments, right? Are we?
yes, I'm
Yes.
commenting, we're still within the motion to table, so I'm commenting on that. So the cost for 2026, January, February, March, is $130,538.60.
I understand that.
So, and I asked also the same question as Councilwoman had about the timing, and I was a little confused about it. So I asked Town Manager,
Which one was it?
130?
130 and change for this year so
I
far.
got 71.
And there's a reason why, because I was confused, why the timing? Why were some in November and December? Why were they showing up now? And the reason is because when there's an application for the assessor to review the documents and approve it, that takes time, and that's one date, and say that's in October, right? And then there's a time gap between the individual comes and submits to the township for the tax refund, right? And that's when there's another date, and the exemption date could be before that. So it's not that everything happens in the same month or same quarter necessarily. So these for 2026 are when the actual money got paid out for 2026. So that's the 130,000 figure.
But and on 2026, there are lot and blocks that I don't see anywhere in any of our minutes and and unfortunately, they're not here to explain, but I don't know where they came from. So I would like to table it.
There was opportunity over the last
I've looked
month
and
to
I've emailed.
our CFO or our town manager, and you still are confused?
Yeah, today. I
Today?
did, one question I had today. Yeah,
And it was answered.
no, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was. I'm copied on the answer.
No, it wasn't.
Maybe it was a timing issue, maybe?
No, I'm sorry, but it wasn't.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
but anyway,
Deputy Mayor, would you like to
Yeah,
make a
I'm
few
gonna
comments?
take a sidestep
No,
on all this.
this is comments on the
Yeah, I'm going to comment on
tabling.
it. I'm
Okay.
going to comment.
Okay.
All right, regardless of your numbers, I'm going to bring you back to November when this first came up, and I politely, professionally, and personally tried to gain your respect to ask you to table this and drop this issue for a number of reasons. It didn't belong up here. It's not going to fix any budget. Trenton was floating different types of ordinances out there that may be self-funding this, and I said, this is not the time, nor should we be considering writing these ordinances, coming back and forth, spending more legal money, fees associated with doing all the research, the amount of town manager Zepp's efforts to find out what numbers are correct or incorrect, as well as public members. This ordinance just needs to go away. And I think,
Okay, please.
and I just want to close on this. And I appreciate the applause, because that's how I felt from day one with this, all right? And number two, and more importantly with this, is let's see what Trenton does at the very least. We're putting the cart before the horse again. Trenton has one or two bills floating right now. This is a hot topic. We have a governor that served. And I would love to see Trenton step up to the plate and give back to the communities, whether it's one or the conflicts of many others that say they give it back or not. Let's just drop this issue. I really believe that, you want to table it, I want to table it indefinitely, if that's okay to
Yeah.
state.
yeah.
Hey, excuse me, keep it down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
No, I hope, it's been
Councilman Clark, do you have
floating
any
for a while.
comments?
Yeah.
And it's-
Just a question. Did we have a report prepared by someone by the name of Robert Coolin?
Yes.
Mr. Manager Zepp?
Yes.
Okay, and who
thank
is
you.
Robert?
Robert Coolin is our assistant tax collector. He works closely with the tax collector. You received 2 reports from Robert, who did an in-depth analysis on this topic. I provided it to you through my weekly manager report.
And how long has Mr. Coolin been with Sparta Township? If you know.
Several years.
Okay. And what is Mr. Coolin's training to provide such a report?
Well, he's working lockstep with our long veteran tax collector, Diane.
And have you relied on him in the past few years for decisions that you've had to make as town manager?
Yes,
And do you trust the accuracy of his work?
I do.
Okay. And have you had any occasion where you doubted the work that he has done?
No.
Okay. So I understand people want to get the numbers right or whatever, but we have a report from our tax assessor who's qualified to do it, who has come up with the numbers year after year. And, I'll just read a part of what he says. Sparta Township operates on approximately 17 cents of every property tax dollar collected. The remaining 83 cents goes to the school district, the county, library, and other obligations before it ever touches our municipal budget. When a veteran qualifies for the exemption and we issue a 24-month refund, we are returning 100% of those taxes, including the 83 cents we never kept. For every dollar refunded, this town is paying out 83 cents it never had. The money is paid back directly from Sparta's surplus. The veteran loses nothing the state has promised them. The lifetime exemption remains. What we are removing is a locally invented financial obligation that this municipality cannot responsibly sustain, one that was created outside of state mandate and is funded entirely on the backs of our taxpayers. Look, this decision is not going to get any easier. It's not. The last people we want to make angry are our veterans. And I admire all the passion and compassion that these folks, they deserve it. They absolutely deserve it. But I sit here knowing that I don't represent just the most heroic and admirable community members, which are our veterans. I will concede that. Of the people who live in this town, the most admirable and heroic are our veterans. They are. But we represent 19,000 other people. And what I got our qualified person from our tax office, and this is structurally unsound. We can't sustain this. Right? I have to look at that and understand that I represent all those folks. This decision is not going to get easier tomorrow, the next day. So I think we have to have the courage to face it and do what our township is asking us to do. Every department here has made a cut. Every single one. Rec, police, DPW, they've all been doing it.
Yep.
Right? This is, to me, I wish we could do it, but there are bills pending here. There are. They're currently stalled. So I would encourage everyone who's contacted us via email and via, meetings, go talk to your state legislators, because currently there's a bill in the Assembly that's stalled in the Appropriations Committee to refund this. There's another one stalled in the Senate. And I'll just stop at one other issue. I really hope that people use this energy and compassion to talk to the folks in our federal government who have cut over 28,000 positions at the Veterans Administration. All right? It absolutely does. If you really care about this population, please put your energy in that. I think that, to me, is where that energy is required, because that's having a huge effect on our veterans right now, and we're simply in a moment of budgetary crisis, and we're trying to figure out, and we're asking every department to come up with it, and they have. And to me, this is a reasonable response to that. So it's not going to get any easier if we table it. It's always going to be a hard decision. Do what your conscience and your courage tell you to do. And my view of it is I represent every single person in Sparta, not the most admirable and the most heroic, which are our veterans. I got to think about the other folks. And I've got my tax person telling me this is structurally unsound and it cannot be sustained. And I have to listen to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to comment on that, may I?
Sure.
I mean, we have that same tax person commenting that our ratables are down 40-something%, and there's a number of different reasons why we're facing this budget deficit, and it's just not because of this issue and this issue alone. We have a spending problem here. We spend more money on lawsuits and professionals in a given day and/or in a month than we do trying to fund this program. So with no disrespect, Councilman Clark, and it's not to politicize this, not directly at you or any of our council members here or anybody else. I promise no politics. This is not something to play politics with. And I think this isn't the answer that's going to be the fix-all for our budget. Yes, we do have a budget issue. And it's going to get challenging and more challenging as we move forward. But rising health costs and everything aside, this doesn't even put a dent in anything. So I just want to go back to my original statement of please table this indefinitely if that's the vote on the table. Thank you.
So,
Just saying till we get some answers and till we
well,
get.
I my turn. Let me just speak for, please. Let me speak. So, we know the numbers, right? If the people don't understand them, if people in the public, excuse me, I'm speaking. If people in the public, or if you don't understand the numbers, we have an 11-page report. We've seen a bunch of versions of these, of the facts from the finance office about what the numbers are, okay? The numbers are 130,000 for the first 3 months of this year. And out of that, 108,000 the town did not have to pay because we already sent most of it to the Board of Ed and to the county. That's how it works. So the 17% stays here. So out of the 130 paid, 108,000 we did not have here. So that's a fact. I have no doubts these numbers are correct. We've gone through them a million times. The numbers are here. You've seen the reports. There's a timing issue about when things show up. This is what the first quarter represents. 130,000 for the first quarter. If that were to multiply out for the year, talking over $500,000. Okay, wait, no, let me finish. Yeah, why not?
You can't.
The numbers
multiply
have been
it out for the
increasing.
year.
Numbers have been increasing every year. There's no reason to think that they wouldn't. Maybe not quadruple, but at this pace, we're looking at over $500,000. Okay, and the town, as soon as it gets the money in, it sends 83% of it off to the county and the Board of Ed. So even though the refunds are being made, the money is not here. Okay, so it's not that it's a one-for-one. So that's one thing that you have to understand. I do always support and believe in our veterans, and I want to do everything I can. This is a painful discussion, and I'm immensely proud of my family and my friends, and my grandfather, my cousin, my godfather, and a lot of others who have served, okay, and what they gave up. And with this budget situation, we're talking about not only cuts to departments and not only programs and services, but we're also talking about layoffs, okay, or potential layoffs. And that affects real families as well, okay? That's where it gets serious for me, okay? And I know this is a benefit that I would love to continue on, and maybe we can shortly. But when you look at the numbers, $500,000, 130,000, somewhere in between, that is something that we have a tough time supporting right now. And I'd ask if anyone up here, as painful as it is, if we don't take some action on this. What's the solution? I haven't heard an answer, okay? So where's the other 200,000, 300, 500? Let me finish.
ahead.
Where's that $500,000 come from? Councilman Scott, I know I emailed you on your proposal, your idea, which I love the idea of finding a middle ground. And, you know, the 13,700 per refund, assuming only a one-year look back and all that, and you saw the analysis. So that's still $200,000 to $440,000 this year alone. So it doesn't really solve anything. I mean, it's in the spirit of a concept of compromising, it does, but it's still $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 this year. So it really wouldn't make a dent.
But may I just mechanically, Manager Zepp, this is prepaid. This is money that they paid. This is tax money that we receive from them. Is that not going into a reserve fund, or it goes into our general fund to be used at our discretion? Because if this money was coming in knowingly that this can be reimbursed to them,
It's not known.
it's
No.
it's not.
They've already paid it and they get
They paid
refunded.
it. You're giving them a reimbursement.
Right. And it's coming from your surplus
So
to pay for them.
okay.
Well, exactly.
So from an accounting principle standpoint, you're taking that money, they're prepaying their taxes.
No, they're not
right?
prepaying. They're paying their taxes. They're paying their taxes.
So you're giving them a
normally.
reimbursement.
We're refunding them for the taxes they've paid,
Going backwards.
going back.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing with the money while it's sitting here, while they paid it, where you're saying 82 cents goes to the schools, 18 cents stays
It's already
here?
gone.
It's
already,
gone.
Yep.
So we never set up a reserve. There was no anticipation of this program or because we had a big surplus, we were able to absorb it that way. And it was no money in, money out, no big deal. I'm just trying to understand the financial mechanics
I'm a
of it.
little
Okay,
confused.
well, I would say that we have to understand this. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Between the year of 2020 and 2024, the town raised the tax rate less than 100 basis points. And the rate of inflation went up 2,800 basis points. That's unsustainable. Cost of living is going up. The cost to operate the town is going up. The taxes are not going up. And the deficit was drawn down to cover the payments to keep the town running. And that's what has happened here.
So wait, let's
All right,
stay on
wait,
topic.
please,
No,
please,
no,
please.
no, Mark.
That is what
No,
has happened
We're going to stay
here.
on topic here for this issue,
We are
please.
staying on topic.
Okay, well,
You want to know
please-
why
please
this
bring it back.
happened? You want to know why this happened? This is why it happened. We drew down that deficit because we did not keep taxes rising at the rate of inflation. And we drew down the surplus, I'm sorry.
We're where we are
The
today.
surplus, and here we have no room to move now.
And what's the solution?
The solution is, like Mr. Clark said.
It's uncomfortable. I don't know what's the answer then? Where else do we look? What else do we do when everything else, and we're thinking layoffs, or we're thinking job freezes, no capital
Okay.
improvements this
Well, I've
coming year?
suggested at planning board meetings, and I've suggested at numerous meetings, that we charge the developers that come here for the time that the engineers.
Okay, let's.
And that doesn't happen, and that hasn't
No, we
happened,
just
because
took care
we're
of it, Mark.
user-friendly in
Mark,
Sparta.
Mark, we just took care of it in the last ordinance.
Yeah, so that's taken care of.
That's
but
taken care of. Check. That was one of the,
Okay, so
check.
we did two things. We
Okay,
did
this
that.
is more of a budget conversation for when we introduce the budget, or when we have the budget hearing. I get where you're going,
My
but
solution is to control the spending, and where that spending goes, without making another comment anymore about it, these lawsuits need to be settled, and we could cut expenses and focus elsewhere, other than just floating this thing for $100,000. If we're down
Okay,
to
hold on,
$100,000, folks, we got bigger problems.
it's not
All right.
100,000,
Not
Mike.
all the
It's not 100,000.
lawsuits.
It's 130,000 to date, and prorated out, you got it up to 500. How many applicants are still in the pipeline for this year's reimbursements?
How would we know that?
We don't know that.
How would we know that?
Just like you're saying, how do we put money
know
aside? We
What's
don't know.
a
No,
5-year
let's not
average of how
engage.
many we've had? I know it's in a report.
Well, it just shows that there's a progression every year, right?
Yeah, I gave you a
23, there's
solution.
8 veterans.
What is it?
24, there's 11.
Settle some
25,
lawsuits.
13.
That's not a
Why do
quick
we have to
solution.
stop that?
Because, well, wait,
That's not all of the
It's about
business.
spending, folks. It's not
It's about
just, we have a
spending.
revenue problem and a spending problem here. We need to generate revenue and reduce and tighten our belts on a spending approach. And this shouldn't be the pivot point of which this gets brought up to light.
It's not-
I
it's
gave
one
you
of-
my
one of
solution.
many,
It's
many,
one-
many.
It's a
not the
very
pivot
complex thing. It immediately does tie right back to the budget. And the budget, whether it's health insurance, legal fees, professional fees, not raising taxes for 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 years, burned $11 million surplus over the last 3.5 years. Put it all together, the math doesn't work. All right, and the math's definitely not going to work saving $100,000 if you pass this.
It's
I
2
don't-
million.
you're still, you're finding zero. That will not have a direct impact to balancing your budget. Maybe zero out your spreadsheet for a little period of time, but it will not balance your budget long-term.
I don't think, I think 100, I think 300, 400, $500,000.
It's not that. You guys are throwing around numbers. Back to Margie's comment about throwing numbers around. I mean, numbers are fine anywhere from 250, originally 250, and we found out the 250 was a total of 2 years, not one. And then we get into, it's 130 to date, and it's prorated out to 550 plus. That's with an asterisk next to it, correct? Because we don't know.
We don't.
It could be 130. We may not get another disbursement this year. We don't know.
Past 3 years, Mike, it's increased.
Then let's lay it out that way, please, for the public's sake and for them to understand as well.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do? Lay
Okay,
people off?
I gave you
Start-
my recommendation. Table this thing indefinitely, and let's move on to
Okay.
bigger issues.
So there is, to the point, there is a report. Okay, everyone has this. This is a
Yes, we
report
have it.
showing back years and years.
Yes, we
Okay.
have it.
So I'm getting tired of hearing people saying we don't know the numbers. That's not true.
I didn't say we don't know, I said they're
Okay.
not making sense.
Well, it's also, I mean,
Okay.
we got this report after we made spending cuts, right? I hear this, oh, you got to cut spending. We cut spending. DPW cut it. Our police cut it. Our recreation department cut it. This township is not doing capital improvements this year. How much was that we cut? That's effectively a cut, is it not?
0.8 million.
$1.8 million, folks. So we came up with this, not when we were like, oh, we need to keep spending money. No, we figured out, we made every department cut, and they're still recommending this. This report came in March after all these departments. They didn't say, well, now you've cut enough, I think you could probably float this. No, we have a report by someone who has done a hell of a lot of work for this town that we've come to rely upon. And what are we going to rely upon? A letter to the editor? That's what we're going to use as a basis to rebut this? Give me another expert similarly qualified as him and attack those numbers. He's done this work after we've done all those cuts. We're doing all we can to make this to be, one of the 2 towns in the entire state that does this. We tried everything. That's why we tabled it the first time.
But we had an audit done. This wasn't even referenced in our audit as a recommendation.
An audit is
An
for
audit gives
financial
you
controls.
But it does give you recommendations, and this was not even referenced in any previous audit as being something that we should be considering moving forward.
I don't think that's part of an audit. The audit is about financial controls. You're
Your
not
recommendations in the audit.
It wasn't in there as a
Guys, please, let me-
recommendation, but that doesn't.
It wasn't a
surprise me.
recommendation, and the audit does, Mayor, with no disrespect, the audit gives recommendations on whether we do administrative fixes or some additional revenue fixes and the like. There's other that's the point of it. We got recommendations, some were heavy-handed and some were suggested. So this never showed up, and I don't know. You know my position on this. I'm voting no for this at 100%, and that's it. You guys want to, we go into a vote?
Not yet. No. Deputy Mayor, I understand your thinking around the audit, but the audit also didn't identify 20 or 30 or 50 other things that we cut. So just saying it's not there is not a valid argument. You know what I'm saying? The audit is, or do you have financial controls in place? It's not a financial planner or a strategist to say, increase taxes, cut recreation.
But the audit's focused on
don't do this.
specifics as well, i.e. grants. When we were they gave specifics. If you read I was very,
How you
very.
handle grants, yeah.
How do you, the administrative, how you handle that. The collections of uncollected taxes, focusing on the rut, was a big recommendation. Focus on our rut to get that money in. There was other things, so there were
accounting
specifics,
practices.
Mayor, with no disrespect.
Yeah,
I read that thing.
I think this is a
tooth and
policy and a financial planning point, right?
Oh, it's a budget. It ties by, you can't ignore
Yeah.
this because it ties to the budget.
Of course, yeah, it does. I hate to say that. Everything ties to the budget, right? Every benefit, every
Yes, sir.
program, everything, every employee we pay, it all ties to the budget. So I go back thinking about the budget. Okay, so again, what is the solution? To fill the gap, right? Or just think about that, because we're going to get there in another 2 weeks with the budget introduction, okay? So we have to think about making up that gap and what's going to be cut.
Ratable
Just to be
intake.
realistic.
And I said ratable intake. We need to get projects going and start generating. We have some good projects in field. Let's get some others going. Let's get some new ratables in here. And poof, this is a secondary, third, this isn't even a conversation. As we generate and we keep some progress going with new ratables.
I would agree with you, but from a budget standpoint, we're obligated by law to pass a balanced budget. So I would love to say, and I agree with you, things are picking up, and we could forecast, like a company would forecast, oh, like, this year we're going to make an extra 2 million or 100, but for the budget standpoint, we're not allowed to do that. So right now, we have to
Understood.
send
I
it in
understood,
balance.
but this is one point.
Excuse me.
We're all-
Any other comments?
Yeah, I look forward at the budget for those who think they have a better solution than this to come up with the budget cuts that they think we need to further cut to fund this.
Yeah.
All right, so, you know, I mean, it's, enough has been said about this. Like I said, I get it. It's, no one wants, this is a hard issue. But I think that, you know, you got to remember, we've already cut so much. Those cuts are going to affect all the taxpayers, all of them. And we represent all of them, not just the most deserving among us. All right, and so I just don't see it as a financially responsible thing to do right now. And so said enough about that. And I think we need to be financially responsible. Our tax assessors told us what the financially responsible thing to do. We have no reason, based on his qualifications, based on the representations of Manager Zepp, to doubt the work that he has done. So my view of it is, let's take what he recommends.
Yeah, I feel like we have an obligation and a responsibility to do things sometimes that we don't like or that people don't like. This, unfortunately, I think is one of them. Okay, any other comments for now?
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Madam Clerk, can I have a roll call vote on tabling ordinance 2606, please?
Councilman Scott,
Yes.
Councilman Murphy,
Yes.
Councilman Clark,
No.
Deputy Mayor Sylvester,
Yes.
Mayor Blumetti.
No. So 2606 has been tabled. Okay, on to the resolutions. We're not going to do any carve-outs tonight. So we're going to go through the resolutions one by one.
Just a clarification on the no carve-outs.
What happened to the public?
There is one
You tabled it.
involving
We need to have a hearing.
the most valuable member.
I'm sorry.
Yes, so
I
can we
missed-
carve that one
No, I
out?
misspoke. I meant the opposite.
Okay.
I meant we're not carving,
Okay.
we're not doing any bulk.
We're not carving.
No, no,
Okay,
sorry,
all
yeah,
right.
no,
Just-
no,
Just making sure 8-3 doesn't get carved.
no,
out.
no, no.
right.
No, I misspoke. I meant the opposite, sorry. Okay, so we're going to go through each one by one.
Okay.
Okay, Resolution 8-1, the resolution of the Township of Sparta appointing a municipal housing liaison. May I have a motion to approve 8.1?
So moved.
I may have a second.
Second.
Any comments, discussions, questions on 8.1? We do, our new employee. Carrie, the
Oh, yes.
department head now. Yeah.
Okay.
What exactly does the municipal housing liaison do? Municipal housing liaison deals with all things municipal housing. I'm just kidding with you. I couldn't resist. She provides oversight to mostly our third-party administrator, which is CGP&H. They oversee the sales and rentals of all the affordable housing units in Sparta. They keep track of the hierarchy of priorities on who is next up for a unit, whether it's a sale or a rental. She also helps oversee the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. We keep track of that. And she would be the go-to person for questions related to affordable housing. Though lately, it's been most of you up here, so.
And just to be clear, this is not a new employee, this is not a new position being paid. This is a designation of a title for an employee, just to be clear with everyone. This is not.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, this is designating an employee as the liaison.
Yes,
Yes.
Designating an employee as the liaison.
correct.
It's
She's
another
existing.
another
So it's
hat
not an
she has to
additional-
wear.
So there's no
Cost or-
marginal cost.
No,
No.
it's another hat she gets to
She gets to wear.
gets to wear.
It's a group effort, though. I'll be honest, with you, we're all doing it, so.
Okay.
All right, all in favor
Oh.
of approving Resolution 8-1, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 8-1 has been approved. Resolution 8-2. Resolution of the Township of Sparta, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, acknowledging and providing consent to New Jersey American Water Company, Inc., to be the successor grantee of the franchise agreement between the Township of Sparta and Village Utility, LLC, in relation to providing wastewater facilities in the township roads and rights of way. May I have a motion to approve 8-2?
So moved?
May I have a second? I'll second it. Town Manager Zepp, would you just provide a brief description of this?
Well, I think we had invited a representative of American Water. Are you there? There you guys are. Why don't you step up for me? You know, I know you all through email. I don't know you by face, so this is a group. You got the microphone right there. If you could just maybe just explain what's happening here for the council and for the public. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, good evening, council. My name is Kevin Rodier. I'm the lead engineering project manager at New Jersey American Water, overseeing the acquisition of the village utility system. So New Jersey American Water has entered into an agreement with Village Utility LLC to purchase their assets and to become the owner operator upon close of that agreement.
Excellent. I don't mean to jump in front, but I asked them here because I figure the common question would be for all the residents who live up in the North Village area who are serviced by American Water, what would be the effects of the new ownership?
So New Jersey American Water, currently we serve about 1/3 of New Jerseyans. So we have utility operations across the state. This is what we do in and out every single day. It's our expertise. We are considered the leader in the utility space. So what the residents of that village are getting is by far the best company, the best operations, with no impact to their rates. Everything is going to stay as is, but we will be owning and operating that system. With me, I have our Senior Director of Operations in the North, Jeff Bolby. He is the one that will be overseeing the crews that you would see on site managing that system.
Thank you.
Okay, just to be clear for the public what this is we're talking about North Village, and this is a private transaction that is in the works. The current operator of the North Village wastewater management is selling to American Water. They're here only because the township needs to provide consent so they can then move on to go get NJDEP approvals and other approvals. Can you talk about that, sir, for a minute, about what
Yeah,
kind of
certainly.
steps happen next in terms of approvals to make sure that what's happening is appropriate and proper?
Yep. So as I mentioned, we have entered into the legal agreement with Village Utility. The first step in the process is to go through certain regulatory approvals. Village Utility being governed by the Board of Public Utilities, we, in acquiring them, have to receive approval from them, but also we have to transfer the franchise, which has certain language that you all agreed to with Village Utility when the franchise was set up, that we require acknowledgement from your council. Once we get that acknowledgement, we can then proceed with the Board of Public Utilities approvals, and that'll take us just one step closer to closing on the acquisition.
Any other questions or?
Yes,
statements?
sir. When we were campaigning just a year ago in the North Village, we went to many homes that were there, and we spoke with many people that were there. And their probably number one complaint of being up there was the smell and the cost of this system. And I was wondering, how do you anticipate to address that going forward? Will the costs go down due to the economies of scale that you'll be bringing?
That's a good question. The costs are regulated by the BPU. So those costs are currently set up in the tariff that Village Utility has approved. New Jersey American Water, through this agreement, would adopt those existing rates. So it wouldn't change because of that regulatory environment. In terms of operations of the wastewater plant, I can definitely say that our team has decades of experience in running that plant. New Jersey American Water also continuously invests in our systems to make sure that they are run to compliance with state and federal standards. So residents can definitely be assured that we will be maintaining that level of compliance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I have a question.
I'm sorry, one more thing. Is the rate currently under the BPU now?
Yes, it
Okay.
is publicly
So
rated.
it's not going up or down?
No, it's regulated by the BPU, so that, and it's publicly out there, like you can look up their tariff.
you.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Thank you for showing up and explaining this tonight. You mentioned that the rates are not going up. Is that part of your PSA agreement for a certain period of time? I know they're subject to BPU, so as you go in there, you start operating the system and you recognize you may want to put enhancements or improvements into the system, you may suggest a future rate increase to the BPU subject to their review and approval, correct?
Exactly that.
So, but
Everything is.
as of now, you mentioned, and I don't know if you maybe stated it just as a temporary part of the agreement, is this a period of time? Are you anticipating any current and or future rate increase to the folks in North Village?
Let me explain what I said. What I say is when we acquire them, we are not taking their rates and immediately increasing them to a higher rate category as approved by the BPU. Time to time, New Jersey American Water does submit our investment plans to the BPU to recover our costs on those investments. We are continually investing in our systems across the state. As you probably all are aware, water and wastewater systems require a lot of capital investment. It's something that our team does well, so we are constantly looking at the best ways to upgrade our systems, replace aging water mains, implement treatment for new emerging contaminants. All of those projects then get compiled, submitted to BPU for us to recover those costs through rates.
And the current operator is currently subject to those same procedures and protocols, correct?
Per the BPU, yes, they are.
All right. Do you know when the last rate increase was proposed up there?
I don't know that.
I am not aware of that for their system.
All right. No further questions.
Okay.
So you're in the process of acquiring it?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
And this is one of the early steps in the process.
All right. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
How often are you allowed to, I guess, for lack of a better, petition the BPU for a rate increase?
Good question.
Every 2 years?
Every 2 years? Every 2 to 3 years. Okay. And has it been your experience that after you've acquired a system, either through a municipality or in this case, a private one, where within that 2-year period, you have petitioned for a higher rate based on the investment that you've had to make for the system that you acquired? Does that normally happen?
So we submit based on the investments that we make. We don't always, the BPU doesn't always approve that full level of investment for recovery.
I see. So what you do is you say, look, we invested $5 million. Let's just take that. And the BPU says, you say, we invested $5 million in costs. We want a rate increase of, let's just for round up, $5, whatever, right? And they say, we're only going to give you $2.5 million as your cost that you're able to, therefore you don't get $5, you get $250.
Yep.
Is that basically
at a
how
high
it kind of
level,
works in a very rough
simplistic view?
way?
Yes.
Okay.
That is.
Got you. But when you make that rate increase, what you're doing, though, is you're trying to recoup and justify that what you think were necessary costs to bring the system, lack of a better word, up to snuff, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Compliant.
Compliant.
Okay. So not just up to snuff compliant, because I know we're facing now, you know, with all the PFAS regulations and things like that.
Yeah, and I will say,
Replacement pipes,
yeah, Paul Sarabando, our business development manager.
North Jersey.
For
yes, senior
the
manager
North
for
Jersey
business
area.
Number one, Paul Saravano, I wanted to introduce myself. I appreciate the council, the mayor's time, the residents out here. American Water, we pride ourselves in being a good partner to the community. Providing safe drinking water operated by licensed operators with over 100 years of expertise. So just wanted to put that out there and thank you for your time today and inviting us to speak.
Yeah, thank you for coming and
For
thank
being
you
here. Appreciate
for
it.
being here and
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay,
vote.
we'll do for Resolution 8-2, we have a motion and we have a second. So let's go right into the vote. All in favor of approving Resolution 8-2, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, or abstain? No. Okay, 8-2 has been approved. Resolution 8-3, resolution reappointing Roxanne Landy to serve in the position of municipal clerk and municipal registrar. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
So-
Second.
Second.
Okay. Okay. The only comment I have is thank you very much. You do so much for all of us and for the town and for the residents, and we really treasure you being in your spot. So
Above and beyond.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, congratulations, Roxanne. And now we'll take this opportunity to swear you in.
No swearing. Cash.
Oh, really? I wish we didn't debate this for half.
Okay, please, you have your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand and repeat after me. And I will say, this is fun to be on this side of the microphone for once, instead of having you there doing it for all of us, so we appreciate it. I, Roxanne Landy, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and to the governments established in the United States and in this state under the authority of the people, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the office of municipal clerk and municipal registrar according to the best of my ability, so help me God. Congratulations.
And always with a
Appreciate it.
smile.
Congratulations, Roxanne.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Roxanne.
always with a smile.
Welcome. Can you go with your mom? Sam, Roxanne, can you guys go in front of the sign?
Finally, we get to meet you.
Wait a minute.
Nice. Are we? Boy.
Okay, moving on to the more mundane. Resolution 8-4, Resolution authorizing the second extension of temporary appropriations for operating purposes. May I have a motion, please, to approve 8-4?
So moved?
May I have a second?
Second.
Any comments, questions, discussion?
How long is the extension?
Till we run out.
This covers the second quarter if
This is the
necessary,
second
correct?
quarter, and it just helps us keep paying the bills.
Until we approve the
The budget,
budget.
correct.
And this is going to get us through second quarter?
Hope
Or
so.
Through that period?
Yeah, it should. I mean,
Got to limit your showers.
yeah, all the departments are on super conservative schedule right now, so.
All right, any other comments, questions from the dais? Okay, all in favor of approving Resolution 8-4, say aye.
Aye.
8-4 has been approved. Resolution 8-5, amended resolution of the Township of Sparta to award a contract to Capital Supply Construction Products LLC for waterworks hardware, pipe, and accessories. May I have a motion to approve 8-5?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, and Town Manager Zepp, could you share a little bit of the background of this?
Well, I'm fortunate enough to have our township engineer here. He helped us put this together.
Okay.
But it's exactly what it says. This is the awarded contract capital construction for our water department, for all the hardware and supplies that they need to run their department and to service the residents who are served by the public water system.
Okay, yep. Hey, Corey. Just introduce yourself to folks.
Yeah, hello, everyone. Corey Stoner, Township Engineer. Resolution 8.5 and 8.6 are related, okay, on your agenda. After we made the award last month, we found an error in the award from Ferguson Supply. And by doing so, it changed one of the sections of the awards. These awards for all the materials and equipment that the water department uses every year. So there's 6 sections. Section 4 has over 100 items, that you put out for bidding. And there was 2 items that were incorrect in the Ferguson bid, which just barely happens, is the unit price was incorrect. So what it did is it changed the low bidder from Ferguson to Capital. So this ordinance amends this resolution amends the one we did, I believe, last month, and establishes the correct sections of the award. So under resolution 8.5, Capital Supply now is the awarded sections 1, 4, 5, and 6 of that bid. And then when you get to resolution 8.6, Ferguson is awarded sections 2 and 3. Section 4 is removed from their award and moved over to the Capital Supply. And it all came to a incorrect numbers that they had in their unit price. When we do a bidding of the project, you have a unit, the quantities times the unit price and a full dollar amount. They had math errors when it came down. And I did not catch the math error in the original award. We caught it in this one, but we had to correct it here before we made any purchases or acquisitions under the award. So that's what we're here tonight.
Okay, so it's correcting and placing it with the right sections with the lowest bidder as appropriate. Okay,
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Corey.
okay, any questions or comments on this? Okay, seeing none. All in favor of approving Resolution 8.5, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, 8.5 has been approved. Resolution 8.6, amended resolution of the Township of Sparta to award a contract to Ferguson Waterworks for waterworks hardware, pipe, and accessories. May I have a motion, please?
So moved. Sections 2 and 3.
Second? Okay. I assume there's no more conversation, discussion? Okay. All in favor of 8.6, voting for 8.6, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Resolution 8.6 is passed. Okay, moving on. Open to the public. This is for items not on the agenda. Again, items not on the agenda. Please state and spell your name for the record. Each speaker is limited to one comment of no more than 5 minutes, and no yielding time to another.
Yeah, Jim Gastamore. I hear this thing about the money we're short in the town. I got thinking about it.
You're going
I
to
said-
donate.
Yeah, guys.
Huh? Yeah, well, I can. Let's see what we got. 2022, we had almost $11 million in the bank account. There it was, $10,973,000. 3 years, 4 years later, nothing. Where to go? Got to ask, where to go? Well, first we had a lawsuit. Individual sued the town. Was it a trucking terminal or whatever it was? Lost that one. Let's sue a second time. Okay. Those individuals subsequently got voted onto the town council. First thing we do, Sparta Film Ready, an initiative. Ordinance. Wrote it, rewrote it, wrote it, rewrote it. My God, that went back and forth like a ping pong ball. You know how much money we've generated today for this township on that ordinance? Zero, not a penny. Huge expense, no income. Then we had next ordinance, cannabis. Everybody came here, planning board came here and said, not in keeping with the town, we don't want it. Nope, we're going to have it anyway. Taxpayers said, don't work that way. Brought up to a vote. Was repealed by the taxpayers. The only one problem with that. My memory serves me, if it goes 21 days without being taken away, it automatically becomes law. So that law is still in effect to this day. Next thing we had was the budget for 2025. Put a budget together, waited to the very last minute, the end of June. First meeting in August. Yeah, well, we got a lot of attorney's bills. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll borrow $250,000 from the 2026 budget. That's this one you're trying to put together. Gets better. Without a resolution, without a public discussion, after NJDEP approved the water quality management plan for the applicant, Diamond Chip Realty Corporation, the mayor at the time asked the township attorney to leave the room and instructed the town manager to sue NJDEP, which he did. That is in court as we speak. You know, you created your own monster here. Now we get a federal lawsuit. Applicant suing for $100 million. Well, we have a thing called the JIF Fund, Joint Insurance Fund, the state of New Jersey. We pay into it. Now we don't want you guys. So the Township of Sparta, they hired John Bartlett, Tyler Newman, Planning Board, Richard Oler, Township Council, John Bartlett, Tyler Newman, Neil W. Clark, John Bartlett, Tyler Newman, Township Council, Councilman Mark Scott, John Bartlett, Tyler Newman. And it just goes on. Dan Chiarella, same thing. Township Attorney, Mr. Dash. I always thought attorneys had their own policies. I guess we don't. Matthew Flynn and Stephen Warner. They're also suing Sparta Responsible Development. The president at the time of Sparta Responsible Development was Mr. Dash. That's Stuart Lieberman and Michael Gahn. So we get through that. That has cost this town more than money because the word got out and no one wants to come to Sparta. No one. From September the 1st to tonight, Planning Board has heard one application. Planning Board meetings have been canceled. You know what was approved? A 79,000 square foot warehouse. Now let's talk. I got 30 seconds. Ready for this? Total rateable of a house in Sparta, New Jersey, average rateable is $343,000. 2024, you had $143,000 in new ratables. 2025, you did better, 206. So in 2 years, the total new ratables to Sparta was the equivalent of one house or thereabouts. You can't sustain a town on that. You got to settle these lawsuits, stop all these ordinances. It's costing a fortune. I just opened for all the attorney's fees and stuff, is we're gonna get to the bottom of these lawsuits and what the attorneys are costing this town, because that's where the crux to the problem is. These lawsuits, like Pete said it, the tentacle. Well, guess what? Let's get to the bottom of the tentacle and get this town moving again. Because with no ratables coming in, I don't know what in the world you're gonna do.
Thank you, Mr. Castamore.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Pete Litchfield, Litchfield. Thank you for your service. You don't have an easy job. In my past life, I used to work with American Water Works, wonderful company. But one of the things I know myself, Mr. Finkeldy, when they were building the shop right, what happens in all these little packaged waste treatment plants? I start like Marge and Pete's LLC waste treatment plant, and I run it while I'm making my money. As soon as it needs repairs, I worked in Philco Degremont from Paris. As soon as they get all their money out, they get someone to take it over. They're going to do all these improvements, and those people are going to pay for everything. So in the future, if a developer comes in and he tells you he's going to put a packaged plan in, you tell him, no, you got to hook up to SCUMA. We have plenty of capacity, right, John? I mean, to build these little waste treatment plants, it's bizarre that even was there in the first place. I thought about it back then, and any more developments come up, please tell them you got to hook into the sewers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
I will say, just that was an issue that this council did not face. Whatever council that was there, and I think we're also seeing, if North Village was such this financial panacea that was going to give, lay a golden egg every year, I think that's put that issue to bed. Because if it was going to lay a golden egg every year, we wouldn't be in this position. So I think that's something that this council should think about every time we hear, well, more ratables is the answer. If it was, then when we have these great big ratables, then how come they're not, why are we in the situation that we're in? So I don't think it's always the answer. I think you have to control costs, and with every ratable presents cost. The problem is you don't see the cost until 5 years down the road.
Hey, Jenny.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Jenny Tappan to Sparta. Mr. Zepp, thank you for addressing most of my concerns before I even got here. I did want to just make one statement. At 809 West Mountain, I was out there today. There are currently 3 tractor trailers parked there. Not the tractors, but the trailers. 3 of the long tractor trailers. No, not box trailers. 3 trailers plus 1 refrigerator. 2 long ones plus 1 long refrigerated one, plus earth-moving equipment, plus a couple of other vehicles that weren't there back in February. So it seems like something else is still going on. There's a road cut in there that looks like it's supposed to be some type of an ingress or egress. The dirt pile, for people who haven't been out there, I don't know if you've been out there, I know, Corey, you have been several times. It's way over my head. If you stood on the grass to where the top of the soil, where the dirt has been dumped, I don't even know how high it is, but it would be way over my head. It's not insignificant. And to have the neighbors have to have this hanging over their head, you want to talk about trying not to have a lawsuit. I know that you're doing what you can, and Corey has been out there a number of times, but that really needs to be taken care of up and down as much as possible for these poor people around there who have wells that have to have concerns, because they will turn around and sue the town if there comes up to be a problem later and the town didn't take every measure at their disposal to take care of this problem. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gary Murphy, Murphy. Just a little clarification. Mr. Clark, you were quoting Mr. Robert Coolan, an assistant tax collector, and stated that 70%, 17 cents on a dollar went to the town, and 83 cents on a dollar went to the school.
And
And the
county.
library.
County
and the
library.
and the
He didn't say
county.
that.
Yeah.
Can't just go to the school. The
We only
the
retain
balance, the
17
balance
cents.
goes down to the county. There are three parts of your tax bill.
64
Municipal,
cents to the town, to
municipal,
the-
county, don't interrupt me, please.
Yes, sir.
The county,
Smile.
the tax, the local municipality, and a school. Also, he said it was locally invented, that resolution? No, it's a state. Not to look back.
He was
By
referring to the
statute.
look back. The look back was not a state-created thing. To suggest
No,
otherwise would
yes,
be
it
incorrect.
is.
No.
No, it's
Yes,
not.
it is. It's Title 54 taxation, Section 54:4-3, dot 30, disabled veterans exemption.
Smile. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Murphy.
Joanne Scally, Scally. Councilman Clark, I just wish you were so more fiscally responsible when you filed the suit to DEP. I have a question.
Just a correction, I didn't file the lawsuit,
You,
ma'am.
you told the town manager to do it, instructed him
No,
to do it.
that's not
That's not
accurate. I
accurate,
don't know what your source is, but I
heard you
don't
that night.
file lawsuits on behalf
I'm
of
saying you
myself.
instructed the town manager to do it.
Where are you getting that?
I
From
was
what,
here
what's your
that night.
source?
You asked the town attorney to leave that
We
venue.
voted on it.
No, that was not,
Yeah.
it was not a single person.
Yeah, I don't,
I
I
was
It's a
here.
litigation matter discussed in
Okay.
executive session.
Okay, I'll
so
go back and look.
That's why it's not public.
I'll go back and look. I have a question. With town ordinances, are they followed 100% across the board for everyone? Or are they enforced, the town ordinances? 100%?
They should be. That's the intention.
Okay, I have a question. With these gas line projects, I waited 2 extra years because I was like on a gas island. They came down Mountain Heights, they came down Tomahawk, 3 houses were there. I did ask, because the next year, we would have been out, less than a year, out of the prohibition period. Told we couldn't do it. So I had to wait an extra year after that to save money. And now I go around town, I go up Sawmill, they're still in the prohibition, the road's open. Go up to Under Rock, that was over a year ago, the gas line was laid. And I go up to Angelo, which was only a year since they've been repaved, and they were all marked out for gas lines. How come? How come these people are favoritism, that they're only a year since that road was repaved, but they are all marked out for the gas? And I know at one meeting, you did say, when one person was saying, well, why are you doing this, bringing up Glen Road? And you said they want to save money. Yeah, well, everyone else wants to save money too, that are waiting for their roads to be off the prohibition list. I know up at Cardinal Hills, they're waiting. It was right down the street. But yet, Angelo, it's only a year. Is it someone you know? Is it favoritism? What is it? You know, something has to be done about that. It's not fair. Under Rock, already done. That's over. But they are on the prohibition list. Sawmill, I just drove up it, cut into it. Something needs to be done. You can't show favoritism. And it's not fair. You know, something's got to be done. I don't know why Angelo can be a year, so they're not even close to being off the prohibition list. How can they possibly be marked out for gas line installation? Can anyone answer me that question? Or should I file a lawsuit of why, you know?
Please don't file a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Well, no, maybe I will, because it's not fair.
Wait, I don't want to cut off your time. If you have more questions, if not, we can.
No, I want you to answer that one.
Okay. I would first say, do you know whether the gas company has planned for or wants to install on your street?
I had it installed. It just said 2 years after they were right at my street. But there's other people that want it in town. But other people up Glen Road, who Angelo has only been paid for 1 year, and they're already marking it out to put the gas line in. Under Rock was on the prohibition list. They got gas like over a year ago. Sawmill on the prohibition list. Go up Sawmill, there it is, cutting into it. So why are some streets, some people being prioritized and others are being told no? I had literally come down Mountain Heights. I'm right around the corner, 30 feet, Tomahawk right there. I'm on a gas island, gasless island, but I'm being told no. I haven't now, but I was told no. So it's not fair when I go around town and I see these streets that have been opened when they are on the prohibition list. So you're not following the ordinance around town 100%. It's not fair. I think people that and they got gas, they should band together. I would be one of them to file a suit, but it is not fair. How can someone be on Angelo only a year and you're going to destroy the street? So that's my main thing. And another thing, if that $500,000 sweeper, can we put that off for a couple years just to save some money? You know, that would help with the VA veterans doing it. So that's just my questions, but I'm strongly, that's why I asked you if you follow the ordinance 100%. But obviously, they are not. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if there's an ordinance dictating who gets gas when or streets being repaved, but I think there's maybe a policy.
Yes, Mayor. Ms. Scala, you bring up a very good situation and question. It is common. I get phone calls frequently from residents all around town. My township engineer, Corey here, he and I actually discuss this all the time because we get a lot of requests for gas installation. And there is a rhyme and reason behind every road, but every road is handled differently. And the moratorium dictates some of that. So I'm going to turn it over to Corey here.
I can't, yeah, we're getting hit with road opening permits left and right, all over the township. It takes up a lot of time just to keep track of all the permits that are coming in right now. Some of the roads, if they're under the five-year moratorium, we do restrict the installation of gas, but we have given the gas company the okay to do so if they agree to pave the roadway curb to curb. Okay, so in Angelo, there's large sections of Angelo, they're going to be off the edge of pavement. They might have marked it out, but there's a lot of sections, when I say they mark it out, they mark out the where the water line is, where any underground utilities, but the main itself is going to be constructed off the roadway, except for there's certain locations they have to come out on the road, and we're going to make them pave from curb to curb, in those sections. When I state that, there is an understanding that they may have to, when they come across on the alongside service, they might have to open the roadway for a small patch for a water line, but we are restraining them from putting any new mains in roadways in the moratorium unless they agree to extensive paving. You're not going to allow them to do it just a small trench on the side of the road, make them go curb to curb. For the most part, I think we do work with them. If they're coming off the moratorium, they're in the fifth year. Within a few months of the fifth year, we're working with them. At that point, they make them do a whole half a lane, half a roadway. So we're trying really hard not to allow them to do a trench up this side of the roadway. They've done that in many communities, many neighborhoods, and you've noticed the roadways are not restored properly. We're also going after Elizabethtown Gas been working with us to give us restoration funds so we can take money from the restoration of trenches and putting into our roadway resurfacing program. So we do honor the moratorium. We're conscious of it.
Wasn't paved.
Under Rock, not yet, it's not.
Yeah.
They haven't restored it yet. It's not restored, it will be.
It's been well over a year.
I know, they're still doing services.
And I thought that the gas lines couldn't be, they had to be in the road. It couldn't be on the owner's property or anything. That's I was told.
They can be off the edge of the road.
When I was questioning why we couldn't get it.
I
That was what I was told.
I don't know the answer to that, but we are allowing them to go off the pavement where they can, where it's allowable. There are a lot of locations they can't. There's too many utilities, either be cable or telephone or something off the edge of the roadway makes it difficult. But
Electrical lines, underground electrical.
Yeah.
Angela.
Yeah.
So quick question, so permit comes in, they have the paving request, street opening permits, all the utilities and all that. After they're done, portion of and/or percentage of the road restoration occurs. They're putting it into a restoration fund,
Sometimes.
but they're
Yes,
parking that
yes, sir.
money, and then do we hire them to go back and do the paving, or do we take that and we give it to another contractor?
What we've been doing, we're trying to incorporate it. It's actually, if we do it right, it actually helps our roadway resurfacing program. We did it in Sussex Mills, for instance. They went through Sussex Mills, and we got a check, I believe, for over $200,000 for the restoration they didn't do to go into our roadway resurfacing program. That helps, address the roadways in those neighborhoods. The roadways are going up Glen Road. Some of those roadways were just recently, paved inside the 5 years. They're going to pave them curb to curb. We're making them do those roadways. Other roadways, it varies per street, per location. Right now, I have a permit application for 36 roadways off West Mountain Road. I mean, I think it's 36 roadways and I think 18 miles of road. That's the kind of impact you're getting right now from
And the
Elizabethtown Gas.
restoration fund is funded?
Well, right now, there's not we've been doing this the last few years to do it that way. Right now, there's like $200,000 in the escrows for roadway restoration that sits there today. We're looking to move that. We've been kind of leery of that because we want to combine it into our capital fund for resurfacing this year, which you understand where the capital fund is. So we're kind of holding and see how the year goes with that. Typically, if we get the money from Elizabethtown Gas, we can get a little bit more of a project done because we can pave under the co-op and our capital program cheaper than what they can patch the road. So we're trying to pull that all together, but we are conscious of it. We had another location this year. I think it was Warren Drive. They wanted to open. Yeah, they wanted to open Warren, but they were in the fourth year. They had a fifth year. I gave Elizabethtown Gas the
This year is the 5th year. It's
Yes,
over.
I gave Elizabethtown Gas the option. They could go in last year, but they'd have to pave the road. They said, no, we'll wait a year and then come in.
Why are they going to pave,
Excuse me?
why would they pave Angelo if they're not? I always heard that they're not into paving any roads. So why would they listen to you later?
Because we're requiring them to do. They want to go into Angelo, truthfully, because the houses are large and they want to get the
Much more
services. So
houses in Cornwall Hills than Warren community.
I'll tell you what I'm
Doesn't
working with
make
right now.
sense to me.
If they're going to go in a newly paved roadway, they're going to pave the roadway curb to curb. If they're less than 5 years, I give them the option. If they decide not to, I'm not making Elizabethtown Gas go on Warren Road. I gave them the option. If you want to go in this year, that was last year. I said, you got one more year. You go in a year early, you're going to have to pave a large section of the roadway. They said, but we'll wait until after the 5 years is over. But they're making a decision. It's a financial decision they're making as well.
So this year, this summer, they'd be able to go in there.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Corey.
So maybe you can push that.
Okay.
Appreciate it very much for clarifying. There's a process, thankfully. It's a sore topic. They just cut my cable line last week. They were all done, and then right at the end, and there's a feeder line too, so my neighbors were not happy. And it's still, I have a long cord now, about 100 and something feet running from the street box all across my lawn into my box. Mr. Litchfield, I think you were up here earlier in this segment
I
already.
just have one thing I forgot.
Okay, please just keep it brief.
It's quick. We talk about, the veteran thing. You talk about everybody in town. I'm sure all the citizens in town will be more than happy to have their taxes go up a few dollars to fund this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone else from the public? Items not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring it back to the dais. Oh.
So Quinn, back again. I just want to read this into the record because I'm not sure if you're going to table this indefinitely or if you're planning on bringing this back, but I think there are some really important things that we should get on the record around this initiative. And I think, so many people have gotten up and spoken about how important this is to the veterans. I think when I'm sitting here and I'm listening, I attended the budget workshop session virtually. And honestly, I was really kind of taken back because I understand we're in a financial crunch. I understand that. But it kept coming back to, have the employees go back. Oh, it's the employees' healthcare. Oh, have the employees go back and have the employees cut more. And that was a large part of the discussion. And I think, Jim, you were saying, and I was on the phone for 3.5 hours, so I was on the phone for the whole thing. You were saying, my employees have cut everything. They are bare bone. They're looking at programs. They're looking at this. So you were saying the employees have basically cut everything that they could cut. It's not the only an employee program, right? Or an employee problem. When you go to the budgets and you've cut everything you can, and you've gone to the overtime, you've cut it all out, and you've gone to all those things, you don't have a capital improvement plan. That means no roads get paved. Am I wrong? That's done. We got no roads getting paved this year. When you get to that level, you have to start looking at the bigger picture. And other people have touched on this tonight. The ratables, you have to stay in line with your ratables. You can't be spending more than you're bringing in. It's like household finance, So we need the leadership to be able to really turn the page and help us get the message out there that, we want the right businesses in Sparta. We want the right development in Sparta. And quite frankly, we have to have the right development in Sparta. We can't just say, sorry, we don't want it, because these problems aren't going to be solved on the back of the employees, on the back of the veterans, on the back of anyone else. And also, when we were talking about the Veterans Ordinance, I kept hearing people saying, well, you don't know what it's going to be, and you're not really sure, it could be this or that, but we don't really know what the number is, but we could guess. It is a look back program. So the part to the point of what we said here, what we do in Sparta, it is up to a 2-year look back. If you buy a home in January, and in March you are declared to be 100% disabled, you don't get 24 months, you get 3. 3 months. Correct. You don't just come in and we go, oh, hi, welcome to Sparta. We're going to give you 2 years worth of taxes. Okay, it doesn't work that way. So we have to be mindful. The other thing is, I think if you really look at the numbers, you will see you have an influx in 25 and 26, because in 25 and 26 was when you guys started messing around with talking about not doing this ordinance anymore. And I think that really brought to the attention of a lot of people living in Sparta, oh my gosh, there's a 2-month look, or there's an up to a 2-year look back. I should sign up, right? So all these numbers are relative. You can't say, well, it cost us 130 last quarter, and if we take that and multiply it by 4, because that's just not it. The 130 or whatever it is, the 71, the 131, whatever it is, you don't know how much it's paying to look back for. You don't know if it's totally paid in full or if that carries forward. What Jerry's talking about through the state is, once you're deemed disabled, moving forward, you pay nothing. You're not paying taxes at all. So the only thing that we're trying to debate here is that. And that is not something that you can, you can't plan for it. But equally as important as that you can't plan for, is these lawsuits and these professional costs and all of these, which are much, much, much greater than the kick in the bucket or the drop in the bucket that this is. So I think really, again, I want to defend the employees. They work hard. They are looking at everything to cut. They serve this town morning, noon, and night. They are dedicated staff. They don't deserve the brunt of this. The disabled veterans don't deserve the brunt of this. And I think really the first step in any self-help program I've ever even heard of is understanding you have a problem. We have to really look at what are these problems, and to Mike's point, what are the best ways to solve it? Picking at this or kicking over that rock is not going to fix the gravity of the problem we're facing. So let's start looking in other places. And I had some other comments on, I'll say, for the budget meeting, and I have some concerns also about these zone changes. And I have some questions around that as well, because I think that some of the properties conflict with things that are going on with affordable housing possibly, and conflict with information that came in from the traffic study. So maybe we could follow up afterwards. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing no one else, we'll move on to council liaison updates. All right, let's start. At my far
Sure.
left, Councilman Scott.
Municipal Alliance does not have any meetings. I don't have a report. Business Development, next meeting is April 23rd.
Mark, can you use your microphone, please?
Yes, I'm sorry. Business Development, next meeting is April 23rd, 7 PM in the conference room there. We are working on our website and trying to bring that up to speed. Also, if you cannot make the Earth Day events this weekend, we have the LMPF, Lake Mohawk Preservation Foundation Earth Day on Saturday, the 25th at 9 AM. So please come on out and help us pick up some garbage. Thank you.
One clarification, I believe the Earth Day event here is on April 25th.
Meant the Bag It Day.
Oh, the Bag It Day you meant, okay.
Bag It Day.
Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 events. There's Mr. Morrison's, there's the Bag It Day. Right,
Okay.
okay. So get out there and pick it up.
Don't throw it to begin with.
All right, Mike? None? Okay. For myself, last night was the latest master plan subcommittee meeting. We took a deeper dive into the circulation element. We had the traffic expert there talking about the findings, but more importantly, explaining some of the data sources and setting the stage and expectations we did for a final strategic vision around and recommendations around the circulation plan. We also worked through goals and objectives for the master plan. We want to be very comprehensive looking back at prior master plans, so back to the 70s, back to the one in 84, and make sure that as we move forward, we're reviewing all those goals and objectives because there was a reason they were there, and we're trying to make sure that the ones that are still important to the character of Sparta, that we are including those still. So we spent some time working on that as one of the elements. And then finally, I'll discuss this more under new business, but we talked a lot about a Highlands Council grant that would fully fund a small assessment that would support some of the master plan work and can also lead to additional funding in the coming months to support some other master plan work. So I'll talk more about that in new business. Marty?
Yes, we have an incredible event coming up Saturday, April 16th at 1 o'clock at the Sparta Presbyterian Church for the Rev 250 Committee, where we are going to be honoring and placing historical markers on grave sites that were Revolutionary War veterans. And we actually have the DAR is going to be there. There's going to be different chapters of historical societies around the county. And we have been contacted by by Ogden relatives, and they are going to be coming as well to honor their ancestors. So everybody come on out. We would love to share this with you. The county has made grave markers for us, historical markers, and we will be honoring each one. And this is only at the Presbyterian Church, and it's this coming Saturday at 1 o'clock. Also, we have other events, and they're all listed on the town website under the Rev 250 Committee. So please check that. We had the Historical Society also did Martha Washington, which I think I had mentioned before, at the Presbyterian Church. We had a reenactment. She was terrific. So they have a full program. Please check it out. Also on the Environmental Committee, they put signs and officially cut the ribbon for Yonkers Landing. So that is the signs are up, it's cleaned up, it's in full use. And also, I just rejoined the Environmental Committee, so I will have more on that to come. That is it for right now. Besides Earth Day, we will have, thank God, it's going to be a town hall this year. So there'll be several vendors there. So come on out, please.
Thank you. And one, expand upon the Glen Park and the trails, it's even beyond Yonkers Landing. It's-
Yes.
The trails, there's new signage there. I remember years and years ago trying to navigate some of that and always said, we could really use some nice markers and signs in there and trail maps. It was a wonderful job to put that together. A lot of people deserve credit for that.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Neil?
Yeah, so, one of those folks that deserve credit is our Trails Committee, particularly Doug Dykstra.
Dykstra.
Helped design the graphics for that. But it was really a group and team effort between Trails, Environmental Commission, the Sustainable Jersey Grants Program, and so that those, you now have an actual map that, includes trail routes and distances and difficulty levels, so you can better plan your hikes in the Glen. But it really was a team effort. And, thank you to our Environmental Commission members. Neil Sauerwein in particular was sort of the brains behind trying to this collaboration, so thank for his invaluable work. And thanks to the folks from the Environmental Commission and the Trails Committee who helped put this together. With the trails, we are in the process of applying for a grant that the county is offering, and that deadline is in mid-May. And so we need a resolution probably by April 28th in support of that grant. We're in the process of filling out the actual grant itself. So we're actually meeting tomorrow we met 2 weeks ago to talk about the grant. With just a little bit of it, it would be part of the Iron Horse Trail, which would connect a certain portion between where the DPW is and then connecting from, I guess, Sunset Lane to that other area right there. I think it gives a better access to that. So we'll spell it out in the grant, but it's that particular one that I think the county says we already have, but we really don't. It's not really accessible right now. So in any event, we're in the process of filling out that grant, and we'll probably look to the town council on the 28th just to support our applying for the grant. And so that's what we are working on currently. With the recreation, we haven't met yet. I know that, as I alluded to in statements about the budget, there had been plans to possibly do a pickleball court, but that's going to get pushed off probably till 2027. They're still doing the at Dykstra Field. They're redoing what is that again? The name of
The Fisher Building.
the Fisher Building.
That's
That's
Underman.
being redone. And then the shed that they have at White Lake Field. So they're focusing on that for this year, but they were willing to dial that one back. That's one that I think we've already approved the grant for that, but we're still going to put that one off. Ungerman Field, sorry. With the film, we are currently preparing for a presentation at Sparta Day. It will be an interactive booth and kind of get an idea of what goes on in film production, as well as actually previewing likely a short film that was done last year. It's almost 2 years at primarily at Burger and Butcher. That a lot of the film was there. You'll recognize Station Park is in it as well. Hope to be able to release that as part of Sparta Day. Also, I was asked by Sparta Friends and Neighbors on April 8th to speak about the film production in Sussex County, and I found at least 60 and 80 women who were more than happy to be extras in movies. But anyway, I was given an opportunity to speak to them about it. Also, what we are doing now is Sussex County overall, Sparta in particular too, is getting scouted for a lot of productions. But a problem that we've run into is, a production assistant has a specific idea in mind of what the house they want, or the farmhouse, or et cetera. And so we go and we're trying to find that. So an idea that we had was reaching out to some of our realtors who have a much better access an idea of what their client's house is. And so we're reaching out to them. I've already had one, agree to work with us if they have, clients who are, we can go to that realtor and say, hey, we're looking for a farmhouse with a pond in the front that goes back, a couple miles. Do you have anyone in mind who may be willing to do this? So we're getting ideas with that. So that's ongoing. And we're updating the photo database that will be used by production assistants. So there's a fair number of projects that are in the works, but these are issues that you don't announce what they are until they actually are ready to start filming, because it's just not a great idea to disclose this ahead of time. And a lot of these folks are under NDAs that they can't disclose who the actor is, when it's happening until, they actually put the application in. So with Lake Mohawk, we met this week. And so there, as you know, Lake Mohawk is undergoing some significant capital improvements, starting with the West Shore Bridge, probably likely to start in June, close down 3 to 4 months. And then they're also replacing, a retaining wall by the gate, West Shore Gate. That's also going to cause some road closures and road detours.
Probably at the end of June.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that will start at the end of June, and that will be a 3 to 4 month project. So there will be some, road closures and detours as they undergo that. And, we're looking with, collaborating with Lake Mohawk and to the extent we can, helping them with issues that they have, like, debris, et cetera. We're really working collaboratively, and I thank the township for the efforts that they made, and they're very appreciative of it as well. And, beautification. So we met this week. We are, we have to get we were waiting, as I alluded to, we had a pledge of money from Beyond Investments to get this off the ground. We are finalizing that because then you have to create an account for it. And then the committee is meeting to figure out how best to take that money and spend it on beautification. And so we are hashing out that plan and hopefully have one soon. We'd like to get this started quickly because, as our expert horticulturalist says, you want to, after May 15th, that's when no longer a frost warning. So you want to get that stuff up. And it'd probably be a window between May and September that you would have some planters, hopefully on Main Street. But there's some, and I'll be in touch with you, Jim, and probably you, Corey, because there's certain specifics that I have to ask about the lamp post, et cetera, if we decide to go that route. So in any event, I'll be in touch about that. But I'm very happy with this committee. They've done a heck of a lot of work. And we even have a long-term plan that we're working on, that what do we want this to look like? Because a lot of towns do this. Denville, Vernon spends 10 grand a year on their beautification. There's also ways, and Denville appropriates about 10, but they get about 17,000 in donations. And there's a lot you can do here. You can put on seminars about, what plants should you plant in the fall. And we could give, instructions about that. Our people on our committee are qualified enough to actually provide that. So in any event, look forward to that committee really shaping up. And with that, that are all my committees. Thanks.
Sorry, Dean, I have just 2 more things.
Oh, sure.
For the Environmental Committee. On Town Hall, where we're having the Earth Day here, from 11 to 3, we will also have a native plant sale. And overflow parking, thank you very much to the VFW. They have offered their lot for people to park there. So we're encouraging all of any Sparta residents or any residents that come, if you would bring a shelf-stable food for the Sparta Community Food Pantry, it would be most appreciative. And that is all I have.
All right, on to unfinished and new business. We'll go back the same way again. Actually, Councilman Clark, we'll start your end instead. Do you have any unfinished or new business for tonight?
No, I think the new business would simply to clarify the record. I think there was some statements made about me filing a lawsuit against the DEP, which is just nonsense.
Tell
This
him,
was-
Mr. Zepp.
This was done by the town council, based on a vote. And, the challenge to that water quality management amendment is based on what we found to be an improper calculation by the Department of Environmental Protection and by the applicant. And so, you have, if you want to avoid lawsuits, know how you avoid lawsuits? Just let the developer decide what the flow rate is. Just let the developer decide what the zone should be. That's one way you can avoid lawsuits. But I think we have sometimes a requirement to stand up for our town. To make, when an applicant gives an incorrect flow analysis, we just had someone stand up and say, why are we giving these private people, private developer their own sewer, then they just turn around and sell it. Well, here we had a private developer, should they get to be able to determine what their flow rate is without us doing any analysis? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If we did, we're not doing our duty. So, in any event, I just want to clear the record that, this was a town council decision, not a Neil Clark decision, to challenge the DEP. So, that's all I have as new business.
Great, thank you.
I have no new business.
No? Okay. I have, I'm going to talk more about the New Jersey Highlands Council grant and the master plan work. So, New Jersey Highlands Council has dollars set aside for Sparta Township. And there's an application to fully fund an assessment, which would be part of the master plan. And it could, like I said earlier, lead to further funding for the master plan. This is not a new topic. Some of you may have just heard this already last year. This has been discussed, and the application process was actually begun a year or so ago, a year and a half ago. But the requirements were changing with the application, with other commitments, things like that. So we held off. We re-engaged them. There's no strings attached. There's no matching funds needed. Again, it's dollars that the Highlands Council has earmarked for Sparta for things like this. This grant application and the grant, if received, would be for $19,000. And again, there's no matching funds, no strings attached. It's to fund the assessment of the Highlands planning area portion of town. And the output of that would then feed into master plan. It will fit into the master plan timeline, generally speaking. Our planner expects that it might extend it by about a month for the completion of the master plan. And our planning board planner and her company has submitted a proposal that meets all the requirements for the Highlands Council assessment and for meeting the needs and for the dollar amount. So again, it's $19,000. I'm bringing this up tonight so we don't have to wait another 2 weeks to just start applying for this. The Highlands Council has been engaged, so they know this might be coming, but we want to keep the momentum going here. So all that being said, I want to make a motion that the council supports the grant application to the Highlands Council for this assessment work tonight. And may I have a second?
Second.
Any other questions or comments for now? Nope. Okay. Okay, all in favor of approving the township to apply for the grant application to Highlands Council, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That is passed. All right, that's all my new business for tonight. Mike?
I have none, thank you.
Okay, Mark? Okay. Excellent. All right, and with that being said, it's time to go home. So may I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes, so moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?